So overall, though, now you're saying fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
Undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Okay, Monday afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Believe You Me podcast. Lewis, that is a very bright and vibrant top you're wearing there.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking new Real Ass Dude hoodie.
It's also a hot pink. That's more of what I was referring to.
Real Ass Dudes wear pink. Bisping, why are you so insecure? I saw you wearing a fucking hot purple suit this weekend at the UFC. Don't give me shit.
It was hot. It wasn't purple either, it was burgundy. But still, that looked fucking good. But hot pink, that's another level. That's another level, do you know what I'm saying? And you walked in with the world's worst gas station sunglasses on as well. Put them on.
They are legitimately gas station sunglasses.
Oh, trust me, I can tell.
Because I keep forgetting my sunglasses. I have one good pair of sunglasses, and I keep on forgetting them at home. So every time I'm out, I have like 5 pair of shitty sunglasses because I'll be driving and the sun will get in my eyes and it drives me wild. So I've stopped and I've gotten $10, $15 sunglasses a few times at this point. So I have a whole collection of shitty gas station sunglasses.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is annoying when you buy an expensive pair of sunglasses, then you leave them somewhere, or you sit on them or whatever. Just recently, I got out of my car, I realized I had my shades on, didn't want to be that guy, threw them on the driver's seat. But then you forget about it, and then when you get back a couple of hours later, you get in the car, plonk your fat ass down, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But
certain things you don't spend a lot of money on. I feel like sunglasses, I should not be spending a lot of money on. Umbrellas. See some people with like nice designer umbrellas. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're going to leave that in your taxi cab.
Well, if you live in New York, I guess you could get some value out of that. And if you're like a high-flying stockbroker in the financial sector, you know, and you're dealing with people, you know, you want to pull out your nice umbrella, you know. But while I'm not advocating for you to spend a fortune on glasses, I feel like you've got to upgrade those a little bit. I can't do a podcast with you if you're doing an impression of Tony Ferguson with the bad shades every time I see you.
Tony Ferguson shades. I'll do it the whole show.
Don't do it for your benefit, please. Khabib will be talking shit.
Oh.
What?
Let me also, I got a fucking bone to pick with you.
Pick away.
You're causing an actual beef between me and Tom Aspinall, you piece of shit.
How did I cause a beef?
You don't even remember. He doesn't even remember the mayhem that he causes, which is fucked up. It's out of his mouth. He doesn't even give a shit.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on. You don't know what else was said, but please continue with your accusations. Please, go ahead. Please, I want to hear this.
I watched the clip. People told me, and then I went and watched it, and Tom's like, oh, where's that other guy? And you were like, oh, Tom, sorry, he just doesn't like you. He said you suck and he doesn't want to be on the show with you. And now I have this fucking UFC heavyweight with the speed of a lightweight that is out there that hates me now.
No, well, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it, because we spoke, obviously, before the show, and he said, I'll do the show, Mike, but I'm not sure about your co-host. And I said to him, don't worry, he's not on this episode, or he's in later, so don't worry. And by the way, that's called a joke, Lewis. Come on, as a master comedian yourself, where no content is left off the table because they're just jokes, you know, then surely I would have expected you to understand that.
Well, you know what? I didn't, and it hurt my feelings. And now Tom Aspinall's on the fucking my shit list for the rest of his life.
Well, good luck.
I will root against him in every fight from now on moving forward.
I would give you less odds of beating Tom Aspinall than what I'll give you of beating fucking, what's his face? What's he called? The Australian?
Jason Ellis.
Jason Ellis, yeah. You've got a less chance of beating fucking Tom Aspinall than what you have with Jason Ellis. But I respect your ambition. You're calling out big dogs. Good for you, Lewis.
I never said I wanted to fight him. I said that I'm rooting against him in his professional fights, you psychopath.
Sounds to me like you're talking a lot of shit. Sounds like you've got a personal problem with Tom Aspinall. He's from the northwest of England, mate, where I'm from. They don't fuck about. You guys think you're fucking tough? Wait till you run into Tom after a few beers. You are literally a dead man, Lewis.
Well, we'll see what happens. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think he's gonna be, I think if I'm wearing this pink hoodie, he's gonna question whether or not he wants to strike a man in a pink hoodie.
Yeah, no, he will. Just like you don't punch a man with glasses on, you don't punch a man that's clearly extremely feminine. Extremely feminine, but that's okay.
Yeah, glasses and a hoodie.
So. I'll be honest, if I'm Tom Aspinall and I saw you, I would punch you just for that look. You know, regardless of whether or not I'm like, there's a man that clearly needs a punch in the face. Talking of Tom Aspinall, did you see his fight the weekend?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
I watched the fights with my son Saturday night. We had a nice little father-son bonding experience, and he looked fucking incredible. And I am an old school Andrei Arlovsky fan, as are you. We've talked about it many times in the show. So it's very difficult. Andrei Arlovsky was probably my first favorite fighter. So it is very difficult to, you know, to not root for Andrei Arlovsky, but Tom looked fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's not fair on Andre, really, to be honest. I mean, he made his UFC debut in the year 2000, and now it's 2021. Do you know what I mean? And now he's taking on all these young up-and-comers. Tom Aspinall, what is he, like 24, 25? He's got the speed of a middleweight, and he's going in there against Andre Arlovsky. Yeah, listen, it is what it is, but great win. Fantastic win. He looked absolutely fucking sensational. That combination in the first round must have hit him like 50 punches. Then he went to the body about 10 times. But what was it? Oh, it was a submission in the end, right? Got the takedown.
Takedown against the cage. It was really, Andre didn't expect it.
Yeah, no, beautiful takedown. And then it wasn't even the most technical rear naked choke. It didn't even really have the hooks in. But it was so clean, and he had it under the chin so well. And if you're as big as he is and as strong as he is, that's it. I knew straight away. Fuck the hooks. The hooks are great. The hooks are awesome if you've got someone that's going to escape. But in that situation, that position, he didn't need the hooks. I mean, yeah, squeezed and it was done.
I just think Andre was like, he's not going to try to submit me right now. And he just turned and got up and just left his chin open, and he just squeezed. Yeah, it was sort of took him by surprise, because you even saw when Andre tapped, he said fuck, right? Fuck. He was like he got caught. This was like, god damn it.
Yeah, nobody ever taps and goes, whoa! Do you know what I mean? That's never the reaction. Yeah, it's always a fuck, a shit, or whatever. The problem is a lot of people, when they get taken down, they immediately, if you got the fence behind you here, they immediately turn to the side because they want to get on all fours. Once you get on all fours, then you can start building a base and getting back to your feet, but you can't do it. As tempting as that is to turn here and get on all fours, you're giving up your back every single time. That's why you got to wall walk, have your back on the fence, and then you got to wall walk. It takes work, it takes effort, but you can't take the lazy way out, Lewis.
Well, I mean, Tom was doing so well on the feet. You know, probably in Andre's head, he's like, why would he even go for this submission right now? He's kicking my ass. He looked really, really good. You know what it is? It's weird because he's so lean. Am I crazy? Because he looks small. He's not small for a heavyweight, right? He just kind of looks small.
No, he's 6'6" and he's fucking gigantic. He doesn't look small at all. This time he was a little leaner. He said he lost like 25 pounds. But yeah, no, small isn't a word I'd use.
No, I'm saying, we kind of talked about this last time on the show. Like, I think like TV gives it some perspective, and he's just he's not like, you know, a lot of these heavyweights, they're so massive, and they're either, you know, I think they carry a lot more fat than he does. He just looked really, really lean, but he's way too big to ever make 205. He's a true heavyweight, right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. 6'6", and like he was like 245, I think. Normally comes in like 265. I think sometimes he has to cut weight. But yeah, looking forward to seeing him again. We're going to get into a roundup of the rest of the card shortly. We've got Jan Blachowicz, obviously got a massive fight with Israel Adesanya coming up. So we're going to talk to him. But first, Lewis, I hear that you've been getting thrown out of skiing establishments once again.
No, you heard wrong.
That's what you told me. You said you at the start of the show, before we started, you said, yeah, got an incident, almost got banned, whatever. Knives were involved. I mean, come on, please explain.
Doesn't even listen to me. Didn't get thrown out. I acted as maturely as one could act. And I don't even know if you would have acted this maturely.
Oh, hold on, but with the one in question is you. As one good act, the one being you. So go on, please tell me.
Well, you know I'm a stickler for good customer service, and if people have bad customer service, I am the first person to complain. I'm the first person to say, hey, this isn't right. I'm spending my hard-earned money here. I expect a higher level of customer service. So I took my son skiing to a place called Mountain Creek Resort in New Jersey, Vernon, New Jersey. And it's kind of a shitty ski resort. It's not, you know, particularly nice, but it's fine. It's close to my house, so I decided to take him. Wanted to take him for the first time. He loved it. Really, really good, really great experience overall, father-son bonding. But I went to go buy him a ski mask, and when I went to go pay for it, or I paid for it, you know how it has like the little plastic pieces that has the packaging attached?
Right.
You know, you buy almost anything, right? So I asked him to take the packaging off, and I was like, hey, can you just cut this packaging? And I saw a pair of scissors right on the table. And the girl that was behind the counter, like 16-year-old girl, doesn't take the scissors. She pulls out a pocket knife out of her pocket, opens it up, and I'm holding it up like this, and I was like, in my head, I was like, she probably shouldn't do this with a knife. I was thinking that in the exact moment. She goes, flick, right toward my finger, and then slice my finger open. Look at this. Look at this.
I mean, the reality is you're gonna live.
Gushing blood everywhere.
Look at this. Look at this. I gave myself a little boo-boo with a steak. I had a new couch delivered this morning, and I'm pulling the wrappers off, and I got a little staple. Put a Band-Aid on. Forget about it. Doesn't matter. Move on.
The point is, I was sliced with a blade from an employee from this Mountain Peak Resort. If I was a different person, that I could have caused a whole shit show, a whole storm. I could have threatened to sue. I, at the very least, could have gotten the fucking ski mask for free. You know how I reacted? I said, you know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. I saw she was very shaken up. I saw she was worried about her job. Everyone started coming around. I was like, you know what? It's just not a big deal.
That is what you do. That is what, the poor little girl, she's 16. Here's what I always think in situations like that. Anytime it's a young girl, you know, I think, what if that was my daughter? What if that was Ellie and she was at work? And the reality is she was trying to assist. She was trying to help. It was an accident. No one got hurt. All right, you got a tiny little fucking slice. You'll survive. You will. That is nothing. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, every episode you have something more physical to complain about. I'm looking forward to the days when you come on your ray of sunshine. I mean, I'm blinded by the lights of the pink hoodie, but the attitude, like that, oh, I've got a bad shoulder, I've got a bad knee, I've got a fucking sliced finger. You know what I mean? Maybe one time.
Hi, Pot. I'm Kettle. You're black. Mr. Bisping, who just every episode is a whole litany of new injuries that he's describing. Surgeries. We have to look up fucking YouTube videos of surgeries. We have to look inside of your knee, inside of your eye, inside of everything.
Okay, but that's interesting. No one gives a fuck about if you bruise your shoulder at jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? That happens. When you're doing combat sports, you get bumps and bruises. Maybe people are interested in the knee replacement and stuff, but I don't talk about it every time. I've spoken about it in episodes, in several episodes, in fact. And you're the only person bringing it up. All I'm saying is that poor girl. That poor girl. You ruined her day, Lewis. Shame on you. Shame on you. Threatening to sue? She's 16 years old, for crying out loud. She's got nothing. All you're going to do is ruin her family's life, her parents. And they're borderline homeless as it is. We're in a pandemic, Lewis. This girl, she just started the job. She had no business being there, but she stepped up. She saw you needed assistance. She came to the rescue. She saw James. She thought, oh, this poor kid, I want to get him out on the slope. I'm going to give these people a hand. And she messed up. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, well, most other people, I feel like I could have probably pressed for like free season passes or something.
I would have done that.
They would have settled. If you sue them in that situation, what are they going to do? You can't. I'm sure you can't sue them for that much money. But if you started threatening to sue, if you went to court, they would go, "We'll just fucking pay them a fee or whatever it is." Obviously, they're going to settle out, not make it a long process. It was ridiculous. It's on camera. A girl fucking slicing you with a blade. But I hate people who sue. Like, I would never sue anybody. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but there's just something about like this country. People are so ready to like. You know, if they slip on some stairs or if they fall down in a store, people sue like crazy. So I just don't really, that's something that I don't like. If I had to go to the hospital, she like hit a vein and I like couldn't go skiing with my son and I had to miss work for a few days and I had to, I don't know, whatever else you would have to do. Maybe I would be a little bit more upset, but you're right, it was just a little slice. But I could have probably worked the free ski mask. I should have gotten the ski mask for free.
Yeah, you could have actually done that, because the reality is if you sued her, you wouldn't have been suing her, you would have been suing the company because she was an employee. But that poor little girl would have been fired. That would have been the first action taken by the ski resort.
Devil's advocate?
Go ahead.
This isn't going to be the job for the rest of her life. She's okay.
Well, she needs it right now. It's a pandemic. It's the only job that's available. People are out there suffering in the streets. Have you seen? You just came from Texas, Lewis. You know how hard it is out there. You know, remove yourself from Texas, you're in another snowy environment. Everyone's struggling. She's trying her fucking best. You know what I mean? But you're good. You're here. You're alive. You look good. You look sharp. You're blinding me. Then say, nah, I look pasty as hell. I'm probably blinding you. I need to get some fucking sun. It's 80 degrees out there. I was lifting my weights outside before trying to get a little bit of color. I'm looking like a goddamn vampire. I can't wait for summer.
Count Bisping. You actually are the count.
Yeah. No, I know. In fact, I might have told you this. Rebecca got a birthday card off her best friend when she was like 8 years old, and it's got the Sesame Street count on the birthday card, and it says, "To Rebecca, happy birthday from Tina and the Count." Isn't that crazy?
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, do you know, you still got it like, I don't know how, 20, 30 years later or whatever, but yeah, how about that?
Women just really love to waste space. Why don't you stop this fucking card?
Oh my God, I know. Like the birthday cards, it was Ellie's birthday last week or 2 weeks ago. Still got them, still kept them. Just down there, there's a little thing for under the stairs. And when we came from the UK, it had, Rebecca brought all the, the kids' school projects, paintings and this and that, from when they were 2, 3 years old. And it's absolute shit. I'm sorry. I love my children, but it's splodges of paint on a piece of paper that you cannot make out any kind of shape or drawing or design or a house or a car, but it's sentimental to her. When she wasn't here one day, I just grabbed it all and threw it in the bin, the trash, and she was very upset.
Yeah, I understand that. I tried to save all of his art for a while, and then you realize all these fucking kids do for the first 9 years of their life is art projects. That's school.
Yeah.
That's funny. Fucking drawing stupid shits and pictures. So at one point, like I had it all together in like a box, and then you start shoving it in, and then everything's crumpled up, and then something gets wet, and you're like, you know what, this is ridiculous. I can't do it anymore. You know what I did start saving? What I have saved of his though? Every letter that he's ever written to Santa Claus.
Oh, well, that's nice, though. See, that's different. That's something that he's written. And when you look back, when he's an older man, when he is a man, number one, that's going to be great to make fun of him, And secondly, it's nice. It's very sentimental, because Lucas now, he doesn't believe in Santa Claus at all.
It's over. It's over.
Oh, it's done. The Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, everything. He actually makes fun of me now in return.
If a child believes in the Tooth Fairy, he may be really stupid. No kids actually believe in the Tooth Fairy, do they?
Well, I think some do, and they tend to believe what their parents tell them. If you deliver it in such a way. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're going to tell people that there's a man in the sky. If you get on your knees and you pray to him, things are going to happen. That's just as believable as the Tooth Fairy. Sorry, people, I'm just throwing it out there. In this day and age, fucking science, we're sending people to Mars. We ain't saying shit up there, okay? There's nothing up there. I apologize. Get on your knees, pray, think, meditate, whatever you want to do. No one's on the other end. You're calling E.T. is not fucking home.
We're going to piss people off so much. This is what happens. Once in a while, we start trashing religion and how silly it is. And then in the comments, you get these people that are straight up like, they're not bad people. They're probably better people than you or I. But they're like, you know what? I can't fucking do it anymore. They're trashing God. They're trashing my faith. It's like, guys, relax.
Not trashing God. Not trashing your faith. Having a laugh, and we're all entitled to our opinions, okay? But God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you. And you know what? If there is a God, we're going to burn in the fiery pits of hell, so you actually get the last laugh.
Yeah. I was watching, talking of God. No, I'm not going to get into it, no. I'm not going to get into it at all. So what should we do, Lewis? What should we discuss? Obviously, we've got Jan Blachowicz joining us 18 minutes. So we started to go through these fights a bit at the weekend. So you were at home with James. I saw that on your Instagram.
He was very happy when he sees you on television.
No, bless him. Well, he's a smart kid.
He's like, it's Michael Bisping. It's Michael Bisping. I was like, yes, shit. Yes, I know.
Where should we start? What was the opening fight on the main card? Oh, let's talk about that. Chaz Skelly. Did you see what happened with him? Did you see that? I think.
I'm not familiar with him that much.
So Chaz Skelly and Harrington, maybe I should know this because I was bloody commentating, trying to figure out. But yeah, Chaz Skelly walked out to the fight. Yeah, there we go. Jamal Emmers. He was supposed to fight Jamal Emmers, right? So he's at the Apex, obviously a much smaller arena, but they're still trying to make it look, like a normal event. But they play his music. He walks out. He's in the octagon. He's standing there, pacing up and down. He's doing his whole thing. He's shadow boxing and whatnot. And Jamal Emmers' music starts playing. Excuse me. And then the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, excuse me, he comes up to me and whispers into my ear, and the UFC production didn't even know this, right? But we're standing there, we're waiting. We think, why is the music taking so long? And then, as I said, Nevada Athletic State Commission Director Bob Bennett comes up, whispers into me, and says, Michael, Jamal Emmers will not be coming out. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, no, he's just had a back spasm in his locker room right before. This has never happened in the history of the UFC. His opponent is in the fucking ring, the octagon, shadow boxing, walking up and down, giving it that, expecting his opponent to come out. Jamal Emmers is backstage, a poor fucking guy. He's, he's got a back spasm, he's laid on the floor, he's in a lot of pain. So they just had to call the fight. But it took a while because, just for the message to get relayed to Chaz Skelly. And as I say, first time it ever happened, I think they cut to a commercial break, then they came back and I got to interview Chaz Skelly. Yeah, absolutely. I felt sorry for Chaz Skelly. Well, sorry's not the right word. I sympathise, should I say. I sympathise with Chaz Skelly. Certainly sympathise with Jamal Emmers as well. because, you know, you go and do all that work. You do an entire training camp. You fly there, you do the whole thing, you make weight, you go through the process of cutting weight, and then you're in the locker room, you warm up, you're feeling good, you've done everything, and then your fucking back gives way. I mean, poor guy, that's devastating.
He was warming up, and it's sort of like do we know what happened specifically?
I don't know, I don't have any follow-ups, and then there was a couple of different, what's the word I'm looking for? Not motives, theories. There were a couple of different theories. Someone said, oh, I think actually he just changed his mind and got cold feet, and then they came back and said, no, that's incorrect. That didn't happen. He actually legitimately has a back spasm. So, yeah, and that's just the way it is. I mean, backs are funny things like that. I remember Kenny Florian, I forget who the opponent was, but he'd done the entire training camp, and he was packing his bags at the end of camp to fly to Vegas. And he was in his room, and he was leaning over, and he grabbed something, and he just threw it in his suitcase, did something to his back, had to pull out of the fight after doing the entire training camp.
Wow. Yeah, that would suck. I mean, I don't believe that anybody on the UFC caliber would ever not make the walk because they're afraid of their opponent. They took the fight, they did a whole training camp, they did everything they had to do, and you know what? The very last minute, they go, you know what? I'm afraid of this guy. I'm not going to come out there. That's crazy.
You are correct in what you say, but I mean, I will add to that, and yeah, people generally don't do that, but that is the most nerve-wracking time. If any time you are going to pull out, if the anxiety gets to you, if you're not confident, or you just you know, as I say, you start getting very, very nervous, that is the time it would happen. That at no point in the training camp, or when you sign the contract, you say to your manager, yes, I'll take that opponent, or when you're training, it doesn't, you know, of course you have your thoughts, you have your demons that you deal with, you have your doubts that creeps in here and there, but you're never more anxious than right before you walk out. Right before, when you're warming up, and I don't know, sometimes things aren't going right. Sometimes you have the best training camp ever, and then you're warming up and you feel like shit. Like, I would run so much, but I'm hitting pads in the locker room and I'm getting out of breath, and I'm like, oh fuck, is it the wake up? Did I not do enough running? Did I not do enough sparring? I saw him yesterday. The six-pack on the guy was unreal. You know he's going to have good cardio. So you get all these fucking weird things running through your mind. So if ever somebody was going to do that, I guess right before the fight would be it. But I want to reiterate one more time, that is not what happened.
What is give me a time where before a fight you didn't feel good. You're warming up, you're like, fuck, I don't feel good right now.
Several times, many times, and to be honest, I think a lot of people kind of experience that as well. And again, it's just your mind playing tricks on you. You know what I mean? Because you are fine, you're good. Maybe you're not breathing properly or whatever. It's just the anxiety. It's the mental pressure. It's the mental pressure that some people are good with dealing with it, and other people are bad. You know, and that's why the people that are good with it, they really excel, go on to become world champions. Look at Conor McGregor, for crying out loud. But that's the difference between a gym fighter and somebody that does well at night. Because, sorry, but when the lights are on, I mean. Because sometimes, I've said this before, you go into gyms and you see that world-class talent, and they're fucking awesome, and I'm like, wow, this guy could be a world champion one day. But then you hear about the fights, and they're getting knocked out by, you know, I don't want to say scrubs, but, you know, beginners that are making a career that this guy on paper should just absolutely destroy. But on the night, the nerves and the anxiety, it all gets the best of them, and they don't perform.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a mind over matter thing. You know, you can psych yourself out. Like, dude, I'll tell you right now, like, the only thing I can really compare it to is, like, after I've hooked up with the chick that was questionable, I will convince myself that I have an STD. Like, I'll just convince myself that it feels weird when I pee. I'll convince myself that I'm itchy, and that and it's just completely in my head until I go and get an STD test and I find out that I'm clean.
No, well, you know, at least you're clean. At least you're clean. But, you know, keep it on MMA. But yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Jamal Emmers is okay. I think he's going to be okay. And hopefully they rebook that fight. But Chaz Skelly afterwards, because I had to do an interview with him, and I was not prepared for that. I'm like, okay, what do I ask a guy that didn't fight? Well, all he wanted to know was, do I get my win bonus? That's what I think he asked me twice. Do I get my win bonus? I'm like, buddy, that's above my pay grade. I do not make those decisions, but I fully understand why you would ask.
He gets a show pay, right?
Oh, definitely. And I don't know, knowing the UFC, he probably got his win bonus as well. That's not his fault. That's not his fault. I wonder, Jamal Emmers, whether or not he got his show money. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But yeah, hopefully they reschedule that. Brian, see if you can find the video of Chaz Skelly singing just while I'm talking. Oh, Harrington, please. Yeah, so he did.
Well, they would also probably be able to book it pretty quickly. They're both in shape. They didn't fight. Nobody got hurt. They could probably just put this fight on in a few weeks.
Yeah, well, that's what you think. But Chaz Skelly actually put, you know, he put that to bed. He said making, is it 145 or 55? I'm not sure. He said, but making the weight is very hard for me. He said, so you can't just rebook me again in 2 weeks, you know, so it'll take a while, because it is a process to make weight. But I would have thought if he's already dieted down so much, yeah, of course, the cutting of the weight is a week-long process. So if you just exercise with some discipline, that should be fine. But did you find that video, Brian O'Hamilton? Because it's pretty funny, because I retweeted it on my Twitter. But wait, what? Because he goes backstage, and like, as I said, the fight got cancelled. And this is what he's doing to the media members, which I love it. The guy is not feeling sorry for himself. He's very happy.
Oh, in fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you got to make some love and fucking give her some smooches too. Sometimes you got to squeeze. And sometimes you got to say please. And sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm gonna fuck you. So
I know.
You gently, I'm gonna hump you.
All right, we get the idea. We get
What
the
is
idea.
he singing? He's just improvising.
Apparently, because I retweeted that, but wait, what? And then somebody said it's a song that, you know, Jack Black is in that band, Tenacious D, I think it's called. Apparently it's one of Jack Black's songs. But even still, how the fuck did he end up serenading the entire media members? I don't know how that happened. I just saw that clip and, hey, fair play. You got two choices there. You can feel sorry for yourself. You can be all pissed off and angry and whatnot. Or you can just say, you know what? These things happen. It is what it is. You understand that. He gets his paycheck. Hopefully they rebook it soon. And then you sing a terrible song to the media. What do you think of his singing, Lewis?
I thought his singing was perfection. Music to my ears. Just
Can you sing? Can you sing? We've never had this discussion.
Can you sing?
No, but I'll give it a go. Come on, give me a rendition of what he just sung, Lewis. Go ahead.
I don't know the song. I can give you something.
I'm gonna fuck you. It kind of went like that, Lewis. Ah, baby, baby.
I'm gonna put my arms around you, Bisping.
I'm gonna put my dick inside you.
I wanna lick on your neck hole.
You're never gonna lick my fucking neck hole. Okay, let's leave that there. You ever lick my neck hole? My neck hole? Oh, you talking about that? My little vagina?
A literal hole in your neck.
Yeah, so listen, you're bringing it up. Don't give me shit next week for bringing up my injuries when you're the one that can't leave them alone, Liz. My God.
I'm obsessed with your injuries.
Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, Chaz Skelly, and Jamal Emmers, get well, buddy. Get well soon.
You know what I'll say? A little side note, which I don't think it's even in the notes, but the little package that the UFC did on Michael Chandler and his adopted child made me really like Chandler.
Me too.
I hated Chandler. I not that I hated him, that's the wrong word. He just came off like such a douche after he won that fight. And he was just like the archetypical muscly meathead wrestler. And I was like, oh God, another one. I just didn't like wrestlers in high school. They were just sort of the dicky kids in school. So he reminded me of those like little short, light wrestler jocks that fucking had this like, you know, like Napoleon complex. They were always just trying to like, I don't know, I didn't like wrestlers in high school. And then they showed this package for Black History Month. He adopted a black child, I guess a few years ago. And it was just such a sweet little package where it was like, I was like, oh shit, like, you know what? Honestly, there's so much more than the little glimpses we get to see. Because I had no idea. And it was just really, really nice to see. So I just wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I'll be honest, I was almost had a little tear in my eye. It was a really well done piece, and well done to him for making a difference. I came back, I spoke to Rebecca about it because she always wants to adopt. I'm like, you do that as well, wouldn't you? She goes, oh, absolutely I would. I'm like, get fucked. We've had kids since we were 21 years old, you know. But the reality is, if you can help someone, you would do it. It's funny that you bring that up, and I didn't want to talk about this, but you brought it up, and I guess people would give me a little bit of shit if I didn't mention it. But there's a bit of backlash going on Twitter about that video, actually, because people are saying how inappropriate for Black History Month that the UFC would highlight Michael Chandler and not the other black athletes that they have on the roster. And yeah, no, they did. They highlighted Daniel Cormier the week before, and I'm sure they've done many others. And you know, I mean, fair play. I just thought it was a nice thing. But you know how it is. People want to talk shit about everything. They always do. And they always want to attack the UFC for some reason. It's always seems such a popular target just to talk shit, you know. But yeah, anyway, I just had to mention that because you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the sentiment, but it's not like, I mean, Michael Chandler legitimately did adopt a little black baby, and he's, you know, raising him as his own. And, you know, I don't know, that story, I think, not for nothing, it's you said you went and talked to your chick, right? And she was like, I would do that in a heartbeat. How many people were probably inspired and went like, you know what, I want to make a difference, and I'm going to do something. So it's fine to highlight Daniel Cormier. It's great. He's a millionaire. He's had multiple world titles. It's awesome. But the fact is, if some people watch that package and that inspired them to go out and say, hey, maybe I'll do that one day. Even me, I literally was like, I want to adopt a child. Forget black, white, whatever. It doesn't even matter the race. I'm just saying, like, the fact that, you know, they highlight that, I think was a great side of Michael Chandler to show, to be honest.
Do you think you'd qualify for the adoption? You know, once you fill in all the paperwork and things like that, what do you think they'd say? When they look at it, they'd be like,
Well, I'm not married. I think that's difficult. A single dad would be. If I was married, probably. Maybe.
Yeah. All right, well, you never know. I mean, you've got one kid. I mean, you give James a little brother. There you go.
Real quick, Mike, we must welcome back IP Vanish to the show. What a great company, IP Vanish. They're a virtual private network, or a VPN. You've probably heard of a VPN. And a VPN is super important, and it's a tool that helps you safely browse the internet. You can use a VPN on computers, tablets, phones, really anything you like, even things like the Fire Stick when you're streaming media. And when you use a VPN, all your data is encrypted. So what you're reading, what you're searching, what you're watching, and whatever you're doing, nobody can see it. You're not going to have people trying to hack your emails. You're not going to have people trying to steal your data. Data has become super valuable these days, and this is a great way to protect your data.
Yeah, and here's what you're going to get with IP Vanish. You're going to get an anonymous IP address. That means your personal IP address cannot be tracked by anybody on the web. Circumvent any online censorship. IP Vanish has more than 1,500 servers in 70 plus locations. When I say 70 plus locations, I mean 70 plus countries around the world. Get protection when using public Wi-Fi. Remember, with IP Vanish, all of your data is encrypted, so no one can snoop on what you're doing. 24/7 support. Email them, chat with them, even call them. They are here to help. And if you remember, these guys supported the show a few months ago. As Lewis said, they've come back with an even better deal, wanting to offer something very special for the new year. Guess what? You're going to get 65% off. 65% off. That is insane. Lewis, tell them all about it.
Very simple. All you got to do right now to claim your 65% in savings, okay, is go to ipvanish.com/believe. That's ipvanish.com/BELIEVE. ipvanish.com/believe. Claim your 65% savings, and they have plans to start at just $3.49 per month, or $27.99 per year. This is the time to sign up. Without a discount and the current promotional savings, you can get it then for 65% off. IP Vanish is the best of the best, and it's even rated 4.7 out of 5 on Trustpilot, and that's with more than 6,000 reviews. So show these guys some love right now. They are repeat sponsors. Remember, it is ipvanish.com/believe to get the deal and start protecting yourself online today. All right, where were we?
All right, I'm just looking at the fight card. I was listening. My mind went blank. As I said, I commentated the bloody thing, so I should know. But still, so Jared Gordon defeated Danny Chavez, unanimous decision. John Castaneda knocked out Eddie Wineland. Eddie Wineland's been around for a long time, so probably got to think about throwing it, hanging up the gloves sometime soon. Eamon Zahabi, early on the prelims, knocked out Jacob Rodriguez. That's a brother of Faraz Zahabi, obviously the legendary trainer for Joe St. Pierre. He needed that one. He'd lost 3 in a row, and he hadn't fought for a while, so he got a big knockout there. On the main card, obviously, Tom Aspinall, Andre Arlovsky, we talked about that one. Well done, Tom Aspinall, once again. In fact, and then Phil Hawes defeated Nazardine Imavov. That was a close fight. But then, did you see this one? This was another heavyweight fight. Chris Dawkins versus Alexei Oleinik. There was another heavyweight prospect that is doing big things, just like Tom Aspinall. Did you see that one, Lewis?
Yeah, Dawkins, he killed him, dude. He came out and blitzed him, hit really hard. Oleinik didn't really have even a moment in the fight. I guess he tried to pull guard, but you never see that anymore. But he obviously knew that the only chance he had in this fight was to get him down to the ground. Yeah, Donkus looked great.
Yeah, Olynyk did that because he always gets people in the Ezekiel choke. I think he's won, I don't know, I'm going to say it's like 26 fights by Ezekiel choke or something, some crazy stat like that. So yeah, that's what he was trying to do. But Chris Daukaus, he's got a brother in the UFC as well, Kyle Daukaus. So the two of them, they're very, very good. And we spoke to him last week. He's actually still a cop serving, working in Philadelphia. And I asked him, I said, hold on, I said, because he works in one of the rougher parts of Philadelphia. I forget the name of the neighborhood. And he was telling me, you know, at 10 years he's going to hang up, and it's coming up to 10 years, so he's retiring from the police force soon. But I said, did you ever pull anyone over or whatever, and you know, you're in a situation and they're like, oh shit, you're that guy from the UFC? I said, has that ever happened? He's like, no. Fortunately, it hasn't. He said, because where I live, it's kind of fucked up and it's a dangerous place and it's very, very rough. And if they knew I was a UFC fighter, then maybe, you know, there might be some trouble. So he hasn't encountered that yet.
I would assume that there'd be less trouble. I would assume that if somebody knew that he was a UFC fighter, it was like we worship celebrity, like as a culture we do, you know. So I feel like people in the hood would be like, oh no, that's that UFC guy. They'd probably like him more than not. I think people don't typically in more you know, impoverished neighborhoods. I don't think they have the highest opinion of cops to begin with. So I think that'd be an angle to probably, you know, maybe get some favor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're right, because people always say that to me, say, oh, you know, when you go out and about, the people want to, you know, certainly when I was fighting, the people want to start fights with you because you're a UFC guy. And if anything, it was always the opposite. You know, like tough guys, you know, like tough guys in doorman security, they always like, you know, they'd always recognize and always were like, oh, you know, respect. But we'll continue that conversation later. Jan Blachowicz, the light heavyweight champion of the goddamn world. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
How are you, buddy? So I saw you Saturday. You're over the jet lag now. You feeling good?
Yeah, much better. Few more days and we'll be perfect, you know. That's why I come here more than 2 weeks before fight, you know, to get the climate. But yeah, I start feeling great. I do my training in the morning and was much better than in Friday or Saturday.
Nice, nice. Let me introduce you to Luis J. Gomez. He's our co-host. You probably noticed he's the one in the very bright pink sweater. Jan,
yeah.
Very nice to meet you, but explain to Michael Bisping that if you're secure as a man, that you can wear pink and there's no problems with it. Go ahead, explain it to him.
You know, this is... I'm okay with that.
Jan, would you wear that color sweater?
I don't think so.
If you were in the street,
no respect from the guests.
If you're in the streets of Poland and you're walking down the street with that on, okay, what would people say?
It's better where? What kind of city, you know? In big city, it's okay, but in smaller city, little bit not good, you know?
Oh, that's brilliant. So, yeah, listen, Jan, thanks for joining us. I do appreciate it. I know you've got a big, huge fight coming up. Before we talk about Israel and your fight and the camp and all those types of things, I'd like to ask you a few personal questions. I mean, you know, who was Jan Blachowicz growing up? How did you get into martial arts? When did you start training? All those types of things.
Oh, man, come on. Normal kid, like everybody in Poland, you know? Like everybody in my age, you watch, you know, movies with Van Damme, Bruce Lee, that's how it started. You know, we like we like do this in all, you know, also on the street, we like fighting against each other, you know, everybody street on street, you know, and stuff like this. Neighborhoods and neighborhoods. We just love it, you know. We do this all the time when we was younger, you know. In the school, we always fight, you know, under the church, you know. We got church, we close the school, and we do our competition, you know, in the backyard on the church. So I just love to do this, you know. It was something
so you've been fighting your entire life, and when you say fighting on the streets, you made that sound like the most natural thing in the world. I mean, I was the same way. I did a lot of that as a kid, but it sounds like you've seen a lot of action when you were a kid.
Yeah, you know, my age and when I was growing up was normal, you know. It was something that we just do for fun. I don't know. And that's it, you know. I start, you know, after, you know, a couple of years, I go to the gym, because I go to judo class, so I start judo. You know, then was, you know, boxing. I was, you know, young guy. I started going to discotheques. You know what's happened over there. Also, sometimes you have to protect yourself.
Yeah, of course. That's the way it goes.
Fight was in my life all the time, you know. Then I work like a bouncer, you know, because when you work like a bouncer, so you can go to the training, you know, normally. You know, if I have a normal job, don't have time for for training. That's why I work like a bouncer. In the week I can train normally. And you know, work like a bouncer, still, again, you have to fight sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So,
What was the moment that you realized that you could fight professionally?
you know, when I was 18 years, I would like to go to military. I would love to go there. I have friends over there. They're waiting for me. They prepare special plans in military for me. But I won my first competition in jiu-jitsu. I won, you know, everything, and then I start. Okay, I don't want to be a military again, guy. I would like to be a sportsman, you know. And that was like this, you know. In one moment, I changed my mind. I changed everything what I think what I'm gonna do in future.
We got a lot in common.
This competition, I will go to military. But I won't. Here I am right now.
It's funny, Jan, because we got a lot in common. Obviously, on my dad's side, all my family is Polish. I was going to join the military. I was always fighting as a kid. So, as I say, we've got a lot in common. Whereabouts in Poland are you from, and where do you live?
I was born in the Czechia, a small city on the south of Poland. We are, you know, neighborhoods with Czech Republic. I was born in the border. Now I live in Warsaw capital. That's how I live. I train. There is my gym. That's it.
How is Warsaw? I've never been.
It's beautiful, big city. You find everything what you want over there. You know, I've got my fiance over there, my son, you know, my family, my gym. It's nice, you know, very historic place. You know, after World War II.
Yeah.
So we got, but it's a beautiful city. You know, my second home.
Are you getting a lot of recognition now? Like in your home city? I mean, it's got to be pretty good. Warsaw's a huge city, right?
Yeah. After I was recognized before I was champion, but right now it's big thing in Poland. You know, I'm like a national treasure, something like this.
That's amazing. Good for you, Jan. In fact, take a look at this, Brian. Bring up that video. I'm sure you've seen this before, Jan. But when you watch this video, I mean, how does this make you feel? Because this is just, it's beautiful to see. It really is. By the way, the people of England never fucking did this for me when I won the championship, but this is beautiful, Jan. It really is. All the people of Poland meeting you there. Press play, Brian.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling, you know. I cannot believe what's happened right now in this moment. I don't know what to do. I was just shy, you know.
Nah, that's incredible, man. I mean, what a feeling that must have been. Number one, to win the belt. That's insane. But then to come home and see that, yeah, good for you, Jan. Well done.
But you know, when I come to my hometown, was much bigger thing over there, you know. I don't know, 2,000 people come to the, you know, the biggest square in the city, something like this. We watch fight together on the big screen. It was amazing, you know. I wish to everybody to feel this, what I feel in this moment.
We were just talking about sort of, you know, we were talking about another fighter. It was Chris Dawkins, actually, who he's a cop, and we were sort of having a debate if people ever, you know, challenge you, or if they the question is, do people ever go, oh, this guy's a UFC fighter, and try to either get not sort of fight necessarily, but do they ever give you a sort of like try to challenge you or try to test you?
On the street, no. But in the gym, every day.
Yeah, that's the problem, because as soon as you become somebody and you're the champion, everybody in the gym, they want to be able to go away and say, hey, I beat him, I tapped him out, I dropped him. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, but this, you know, this is the part of this game, you know, when you got, you know, a worst day and someone, you know, beat you on sparring, just have to take it.
So yeah, I want to ask you about this. We've spoke about this before, but and I'm sure you know, well, you do know about it. It's your story. But so before every fight, you go to a tree in the woods, right? And where did you find somebody, a dead body hanging there? Can you tell us the story, please?
Yeah, you know, I got 2 dogs, so I walk with them to the forest. I like to do this. And one day I just go. I don't like to, you know, I just go to the deep forest, you know, nobody over there, no people, just me and dogs, you know. I can, you know, release from the leash, they can run. When I go and just see someone, you know, staying, first of all, I think that someone is just staying, you know, close to the tree, you know. I think maybe some bum drink wine or do something like this, I don't know. But when I go a little bit closer, there's something wrong, because he don't move, you know. If you are in the forest and someone is on your back, you know, naturally just want to watch for your, you know, safety, what's happened over there. And he just stayed and moved, and I said, something is not good, something is wrong. I just come closer and went, what the fuck? I saw rope on his neck, and I knew that he hanging, yeah. And now, when I come to him, I see that he is dead. But anyway, I ask him, "Hey, man, are you okay?"
No, hold on. So he's hanging on a rope, and you're like, "Hey, buddy, you okay?" He's like, "Yep, I'm fine. I'll be down in a minute."
Hey, that was my first dead person, no?
Hey, that's one more than me, Jan.
Yeah. So I call to the police, and I cannot, they ask me, where is it? And I cannot, say them. So, okay, I will go to the street and I take you guys to this place where this guy hanging. And when I come back with the police, I think, come on, they think that I'm joking, that nobody over there. And I start thinking, the guy is still gonna be over there, maybe he goes somewhere or something like this, and the police guy thinks that I'm crazy, But he was still over there. Yeah. And that was also a funny story because the cop recognized me. And when he do his thing, I know you from somewhere. Well, you are a fighter. Can I do picture with you? And I said, okay. And we do it with him also.
So let me ask you this, Jan. So you got, but I read some of it before every fight. You go there, right? Just like a little bit of mental preparation. Can you talk me through why you do that?
Yeah, because this police tell me that people that they take piece of the rope when you find someone who hanging. You have to take piece of the rope because this brings luck. I said, he's crazy, I think so. But I checked it on internet, and people a long time ago believe in this thing, So I say, why not? Why don't try to do it, And right now I've got this rope with me. If you want, I can show you.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the rope.
Yeah,
How different, while it's in the rope, how different America and Poland is. They're not giving the person who found the body in America a piece of the evidence from maybe a possible crime.
Here, just take that. That'll bring you luck. Have a piece of that, and then you get found with a piece of that rope. And I don't know, a year later, they're like, "You fucking murdered this guy."
Yeah, it's also I couldn't imagine this guy didn't seem too lucky with that rope. So I don't want any part of his rope.
Well, I know. That's why I was like, hold on.
So I go there, cut the rope, and send to one guy, and he do something like this for me, And this is this. Inside is the rope.
Wow.
And, for what I do the.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow, yeah. Man, that's crazy.
We all pictured a.
I don't know. It's big. It works. It works.
Yeah. I pictured. Oh, really? Yeah. Wow, man, that's crazy.
We all pictured a.
I don't know. It's big. It works. It works.
Yeah. I pictured like brown, like a real manly piece of rope. That's a rope that Lewis would use with his pink sweater.
I touched this rope first time before your match against Jimmy Manua.
Oh, nice. Okay, and is that when you knocked him out in the rematch, did you, or was it?
No, decision. He was down, but he survived.
Yeah, I was there. I saw that.
Yeah.
Hey, so I want to ask you. I mean, in your UFC career, you were doing very well. You had some great fights, but there was a few losses earlier in your career. So what changed for you mentally? Because it seems all of a sudden you were having good fights against tough opponents, and that's the way it goes. You win some, you lose some. So no shame. I did the same thing myself. But for me, when I got with a good boxing coach, we worked on the mental side of things. So what was it for you that changed? That things started to really click.
First of all, when I signed contract with UFC, that changed everything in my training. I changed gym, changed city completely, and that was the biggest mistake. First of all, and after a few losses, I come back to my old coach, and he knows how to work with me, what is good for me, what is bad for me. When he push me, when slow down, he just know me my body, my my skills, everything what is good for me. And when I come back to him, I'm back to the roots. I start winning again the fights, And also when I have the bad moments in my life, I read one book to change my mind completely. Not only in sports way, but only in the whole life. That was "Wake Up Giant Inside You." This Anthony, I don't remember the Anthony.
Wake Up the Giants Inside You. I'm going to take a note of that because I want to read it.
I show you.
Wake Up the Giants Inside You.
Maybe English name is different, I check it.
Okay. Well, I can't read Polish, I can't speak Polish, and I've never been to Poland, so it's like...
Anthony Robinson, Wake Up Giant Inside You.
I'll check it out, I'll find it. Obviously...
Yeah, and he changed my life, how I look right now, everything is much better for me, much easier, and that's it, everybody says that, you know, the sky is the limit. Now I believe the mind is the limit, and that's it.
Well, if you conceive... Go ahead, Louis. Sorry, pardon me.
No, it's Tony Robbins. Brian just put it in the chat. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Yeah, Tony Robbins is a very, very popular inspirational speaker here in the States.
Yeah.
I know.
And if you conceive and if you believe, then maybe you can achieve as well, Jan. Did you know that? That's what Luke Rockhold says.
I don't care what you say, you know.
How good did that feel, by the way? Because we have that in common as well. We've both knocked out Luke Rockhold because he was talking a lot of shit going into that fight.
That was amazing feeling after everything, because, you know, you can do trash talk, but he did this in really not good way for me. In my, you know, in Poland, he will come out. If he say something like this, he will, you know, Poland is a small country. I will find him somewhere, you know.
What did he say that offended you?
You know, everything what he said. I just believe that he thinks that he's much better, you know, than normal people. You know, I don't know. He thinks that he's rich man and he can, you know, do everything, say everything because he is better. Because I don't know, you know, that was a little bit not good for me. You know? And I should prove that, you know, he's wrong. That's it.
Was that is there anybody else that you could think of that you sort of had that bad blood with, or was that sort of the?
He got the first place.
Yeah.
I understand the bad blood. I understand trash talk, but you know, you can do this in completely different way. Find a way, you know, that not that like he did it. You know?
So before we talk about Israel Adesanya, I want to ask you about the fight with Dominic Reyes. Because Dominic Reyes, obviously the fight before you, had a tremendous fight against John Jones, right? And I actually thought that he beat John Jones. I thought he won that fight, but whatever. Then you go out there. Was it the first round or the second round? You knocked him out cold. Yeah, just talk to me about that moment. Talk to me about the fight, the training camp. And after beating Reyes, did you want to fight John Jones? Is that something you were looking forward to? Is that something you want to do in the future as well?
Yeah, you know, training camp was really short to Dominic, just 6 weeks. I come back, you know, from Spain from my vacation. When I we come to Poland, UFC text to my manager, we got fight for you, Dominic Reyes, just 6 weeks. I said, okay, no problem, let's go, let's do this. Yeah, camp was great, you know, we got good kickboxer, southpaw guy, so I was ready for everything. Everything was, you know, good. Staying Abu Dhabi, you know, acclimatization, the weight cutting, everything was perfect, you know. I just know that in my head that's gonna be my night. I feel perfect, you know. And after first body kick, I knew that this fight will be mine, you know. And after when I broke his nose in the second round, I just knew that okay, over will be soon. I just have to give maybe 20 more seconds and fight will be over. So, and I'm happy because everything what we prepare for him works in the fight, you know. So that was good for me because I know that we do a good job with my coaches in the gym, the tactics and everything, you know. And of course, I love to fight against John Jones, but I don't think right now about him. I think about Israel Adesanya. John Jones is heavyweight. Maybe in future I also go to heavyweight and catch him there. We will see. But right now he is not my problem. He is the heavyweight guy's problem. We will see what's happening in the future.
Yeah, I mean, is there any part of you that feels as if you need to win that fight or to get that John Jones fight in order to, you know, justify the title and in order to you know, sort of bring everything full circle?
Like I told you, I don't think about John Jones, you know. He's not my problem. We'll see what's happening in the future. Right now I've got, you know, Israel Adesanya. I believe the next will be Glover Teixeira, so I think about these guys. We've got good, you know, there is a fight against Ankalaev and Krylov, also good fight. So I think about these guys, not about John Jones. There is Rakic, you know, Jozi Prochazka, new guys in 205.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the odds right now. I know you're a little bit of an underdog in this fight. Does that bother you at all, considering the fact that Israel's moving up?
I'm always underdog. I used to bet. I always underdog and always won the fight. After when I beat Walker, I told this a couple times in the interviews. One guy come to me in the hotel and said, "Thank you, my friend. I won $50,000 thanks to you."
50,000? Holy
yes.
shit! Because I was going to ask you about that, because you are always the underdog, and I mean, I understand that Israel's coming in, he's undefeated. What is he, 18, 19 and all now?
Yes,
Oh, 20, you know. Wow.
Yeah, I know everything about him, so you can ask
Yeah,
him.
I mean, that's an incredible record, and he's looked really, really good lately. Against Borchini, Paulo Costa, you know, I mean, he dismantled him. But I thought in that fight, Paulo Costa was scared. You know, he was very intimidated of the speed and things like that. And I think you've got a really, really good style for Israel because you're not going to be afraid of him. And you've definitely got the bigger power out of the two of you. And if you close the distance and take away his length and his reach and his kicks, then, you know, then, as I say, you're a very, very tough matchup for him. But how do you see it?
Well, when I do my visualization training, I see then I knock him out in second round by left kick on the head. But you know, I know how to rest. I know how to do jiu-jitsu on the ground, so I'm gonna be ready for everything, and I use all my tools to win the fight, you know. And also, I love to fight in stand-up. It's not the secret, and every fight starts in stand-up. So I will try do my skills on him, to kicks, to try, you know, boxing with him. I'm just also, you know, curious a bit how I'm gonna look against someone like Israel in stand-up, you know.
Has your visualization training ever been correct in predicting in the past?
Yeah, with Rocco was, you know, with Rocco was 100%. I thought left hand second round. With Dominic Reyes, I just think that it's gonna be in third round, not second. And also, I think I do correct with the Corey Anderson.
You know, to be honest, you knocked out Rocco twice in one fight because you knocked him out at the end of the first round and then you knocked him out again in the second round. So, you know, you made him eat his shit twice. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what do you think the main thing you've got to watch against Israel? You know, other than him walking to the ring and dancing and breakdancing and all that shit in the fight, what do you think is the main problem that you have to address in training camp?
You know, his speed, of course, I have to watch on his speed, on his, you know, kicks, right and left leg. This is something that I have to be, you know, focus all the time.
Yeah.
On his kicks, I think. Left and right kicks.
And you have a lot of submissions on your record. Is that part of the plan? I mean, listen, it's a mixed martial arts fight, but and a lot of people with Israel being a kickboxer, they're like, oh, take him down and look to exploit him there. But he's proven to be very, very hard to take down. Is that something that you're
not so easy to take him down, but I think we find a way how to take him down. If I'm gonna have opportunity to take him down, I'll do this, and you know, the fight against him on the ground is not a secret that. It's our part of the game plan, you know. I think he know that we're gonna try to use our wrestling and submission skills to win the fight.
Any bad blood with Israel?
Not now. We will see later on press conference.
Yeah, because he talks a lot. I mean, I can't say anything. I saw you Saturday morning, and I said, yeah, I was the same way. I talked a lot of shit, you know. So, but he does like to talk, and he makes it fun for the fans, and that's gonna make this fight even bigger, right? Israel is a big, big star, and the more shit you talk, the more people get involved. So you just gonna ignore all of it and focus on the fight.
We will see what he's gonna talk. If he say something to me, I will try, you know, talk to him also. But you know, he's good with talking, so okay, he do this job for people with trash talk, and together we do a good job inside the octagon.
What do you like at breakdancing? Are you gonna have a dance off?
Well, I can dance, you know. I know how to dance, but after, you know, a few beers, they're not really good dancing, you know. So
I'm terrible.
How's
so
your singing?
about 2 hours after the fight, I will be dancing.
We had a singing competition before, me and Michael Bisping. Can you give us a little example of your singing skills?
My singing skills?
Yes.
Come on, Jan, don't be shy.
What do you mean? Wait a minute. It's a Polish song or an English song?
Yeah, give me like an old Polish village song that the elders would sing to encourage the spirits to come down and keep all the vampires away.
This is kind of song here. Wait, I have to... Deszcze spokojne potargały sad, a my na tej wojnie ładnych parę lat. Kurczę, I don't remember what was I forget the words.
That's awesome.
I got one more.
Please. No, I could listen to this all day.
Lepiej trochę gorzej, ale nie o to chodzi, jak to Bogu wychodzi. Czasami człowiek musi, inaczej się udusi. Lubię piosenki, inne różne dźwięki, szczególnie jak mnie co wzruszy, rzuca mnie się na uszy. Teraz będę już szczery, wybrałem drogę kariery na estradzie, na pewno sobie poradzę.
Hey, fuck the UFC. Polish X Factor, Polish Idol, let's go.
I will do it, you know, 3 years in UFC and then Big Sam, and I'm gonna be a singer.
So I have Polish family, and I'm very ashamed. I've never been to Poland. I definitely want to go. So when I come to Poland, what is like one thing I definitely should do? What's some food that I have to try?
You need to try pierogi, you need to try schabowy, bigos, for sure. These 3 things that you have to try.
Okay, and I'm going to try singing that song as well, but I'll probably get shot by the Polish. Going back to Adesanya, so give us a prediction for that fight. Oh no, sorry, you said head kick round.
Yeah, head kick, round.
Okay. I'll tell you what I did before. I went to Twitter and I said, anybody got any questions for Jan Blachowicz? So here's a few of them here. Brandon Lee Bailey says, how does it feel being the underdog? We spoke about that. How did he maintain belief when you were on a run of 1 win in 5 fights? And at which fight did he really feel like things were about to turn? We talked about that, but do you want to answer that? How did you feel?
But can you repeat, because I don't catch this, you know, my English is not so good.
Hey, it's better than my Polish. It just says, how did you feel mentally, you know, when you lost a few fights early in your career?
Okay, I'm strong mentally, you know, I just have to, I always, when I lost the fight, I try to connect the dots, why I lost the fight, you know, what goes wrong, and why goes wrong, and don't do the same mistake, you know, sometimes I do this mistake twice, so I'm not so perfect. But I'm not some guys that I lost the fight, I hide under the bed and I would cry, you know, couple, you know, weeks. You know, it's part of the life. You have to take it on your chest and just keep it going, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Was there ever a time where you thought, like, fuck, maybe I'm not going to become a world champion one day?
No, I just have one time in my life when I think that, okay, I need to do a longer break, you know, some 8 months, 9 months, something like this. But after 1 month of break, I said, fuck it, I have to come back to the gym and start training, you know. It's my life, I love to do this.
Do you spar a lot?
I never stopped believing in myself, never.
Do you spar a lot, Jan? Because a lot of people these days now, they're doing less and less sparring. I used to spar too much. What about yourself?
No, I spar a lot, but I don't think just perfect, you know. I know how much sparring I have to do, when to start. 2 weeks before a fight, I start sparring. You know, I know my body. My coach know me. I know when I have to push a little bit, when I have to slow down, and I just, you know. But we do, I don't know, 3 sparring session in the week, something like this.
What is your go-to meal after you've weighed in and then day of the fight? What do you like to eat?
I have to always eat some shit food before fight, you know. Not shit food, you know, because if I don't eat, I don't make a good fight, you know.
So what do you call shit food? What do you call shit food?
Some fast food, you know, burger, with, you know, fries, or you know, like pizza, no, meat, fries, something like burger. A lot of meat, not healthy food, you know.
I used to always have pizza. I used to say, oh no, it's carbs, it's good for me, it's good for me. But the fact is, you've just done 2 months of dieting. A good meal, it's good for you mentally. You know?
Exactly. You need to have find a balance, you know, between everything, you know. If you go to the diet, I worked with one dietist a couple of years ago. He changed my diet also completely, and that was, you know, also really big mistake for me. I just look better, but I don't feel better, you know. So I come back, you know, to what I eat every day, and was start, you know, also feel great in the gym, in the training. So you need to, I think the secret is you need to know your body and your mind, you know, what you need, you know. It's not a secret. If I eat, you know, I don't know, eggs with something and feel good after that, so I'm gonna eat that. If I eat something different and I don't feel good, I'll stop eating this shit, you know. It's not so hard like it is. Everybody can help you, like, you know, some guy from, you know, some psychology guy or dietetics guy can help you, but, you know, you need to know your body correct, you know, what you need.
So Michael Bisping moved to the United States and completely abandoned his country. Is that something that you would ever consider doing?
No, I don't think about this. Maybe in the future, but I will go to San Diego.
Well, that's just down the street from where I live. San Diego's beautiful. And by the way, I didn't abandon my country, so fuck you.
But I know it's wrong.
What's that behind me? That's a British flag.
I love my Polish, what's happened over there, it's also fight every day.
Somebody on Twitter said to me, Jan, they said here, ask him about the mini belt that he got for his newborn baby. It's so great. I don't know what that is, but I mean, it sounds...
UFC sent me UFC belt for my son, no?
A real belt, like a miniature one?
Yeah, miniature real UFC belt. It was so cute,
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, the UFC are awesome like that. When I had a baby, they sent some nice presents. Yeah, they're great. They're awesome like that. So...
They take care of my son. They've got, he's got everything. He can be pro fighter right now, pro fighter.
How old is your son?
2 months.
2 months. Wow, good for you.
Oh,
man.
congratulations.
That's your first child.
First, yes.
That's amazing. Let me ask you a question. What's so far, what's the hardest thing about being a new dad?
I prefer, the fight is easy. To be a father is much harder. But my fiance, she take care of everything of him because I've got the fights. I have to sleep, to have the power to be trained for recovery. But after the fight, I have to buy something nice for her, and I will take care of myself.
And do you think when he's older, would you get him into martial arts and fighting, or would you keep him away from that?
I just would, I will try. How to say it? I would like to that he will be happy in future. If he would like to, I don't know, play on piano, I buy him piano. If he wanna be a martial arts, I will help him. But for sure, he gonna have to be. He has to do something in sport.
What if you want to wear a hot pink hoodie?
We're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk with you about life every day.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, let's get back to the fighting, and we'll let you go in a couple of minutes. No doubt you've got training. So fingers crossed in your mind. You've visualized it. You're gonna go out. You head kick Israel Adesanya. Take away his undefeated record. Knock him out. You defend the belt. Who would you want to fight next?
I believe and I think that Glover Teixeira is next. He deserves also for the title shot, and I would like to fight against him in the next fight.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're talking about him actually being a backup as well. Correct? Is that true? Have you heard that?
Yeah. Something like that. I hear something like this.
Okay, and then you probably get sick of answering this question, but John Jones, is that something that you want? Is that something you want to do? Because he was the man, he was the legend at light heavyweight for the longest time. You understand?
I told this many times in different interviews. I will find him somewhere. If I have to, I will go to Albuquerque to his gym. And we do this, I don't know, in the gym or outside the gym.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. All right, well, listen, Jan.
Well, sorry, Mike. Oh,
No, you're good.
We fight after when I knocked out Corey.
Pardon me?
John Jones promised me fight when I knocked out Corey Anderson,
Yes.
You talked earlier about maybe possibly thinking of moving up to heavyweight at one point. What do you think overall? I mean, this is the new age of the UFC where I think you have to become a champ in order to get the big respect, and that's sort of the way that everybody talks. Is that something that's really important to you, is to hold a title in a different weight class?
Not now, Right now I'm thinking about, to defend the title a couple times, and after in the future, because I like to eat, I don't like getting weight. Nobody likes to do this. In the future, for sure, I will try to, be the best in heavyweight, but it's too long time to see this. So.
What do you weigh? What do you walk around at?
Right now? Or normally?
Just normally, what do you walk around at?
230, something like this.
What about now?
220.
So, on the fight, everybody talks about Israel, that he doesn't really get heavier than 190. Is that what you heard? And I'm assuming that's something that you're going to try and take advantage of, right? You being the much bigger guy, the stronger guy. Certainly in wrestling, that's going to help. But yeah, talk to me about that. How do you feel about him being much lighter?
I train with lighter guys, I train with my weight with the bigger guys and with the lighter guys, because they are faster and I need to use the speed, So I'm going to be ready for I don't know. We will see how big he's gonna be, because that's what he thought it's one, and we will see in the fight it's gonna be big or no. So I'm gonna be ready for every size of Israel.
Okay, all right, listen, last question before we let you go. I need another song, Jan. That was beautiful. I'm gonna
One more?
record it. I'm gonna learn the words.
Okay,
I need
something
one more.
American?
Pardon me.
Let's get something American this time.
Ooh, something. Well, you give him something American first, Lewis. Go ahead. Sing him
me
a song.
personally?
Yeah.
Tonight's the night, let it shine.
Bad.
Nothing say.
I don't even recognize the song.
Of July, baby, I'm a firework.
Stop it. Stop it. That's
Yeah.
awful. That's bad.
Hey.
Jan, I apologize. I'm very sorry. You're a busy man. I didn't have you on here for this bullshit.
I'm not gonna sleep today. Right.
Give us one more song, Jan. One more.
One more. Let me think a little bit. What? 10 seconds.
Okay.
It's
Take
not
your
long
time.
when I have to think about something in so fast. Posedniosę kosi, słonko świeciło, przysło ku mnie zjadali dziewczę jak miło. Przyszedł, I forget.
It's okay.
No,
It's
to be
okay.
honest with you, you could have faked it. We would have not known.
Yeah, but you know, Polish fans will watch the view, and then fans said me everything. The it was bad. You know, forget the words, what are you doing?
Jan, it was awesome talking to you. It's the first time we've had like a real proper conversation. It's good getting to know you a bit. You've got a great personality. You're awesome at singing, and I cannot wait for your fight. Honestly, I'm very, very excited for it. All the best. Good luck. Congratulations on everything, and hopefully we'll talk again, you know, after the big fight.
Yeah, pleasure for me.
Awesome.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thanks, Jan. Oh, he's gone. That's it. That was abrupt.
And he's gone.
What a guy. What a guy. You know, because he's a big, stoic, strong, but like when you get talking to him, he's fucking singing away and everything. What a great guy. He's awesome.
He's a good guy. I'm rooting for him. It's, Israel's great, obviously. But when somebody's achieved this level of greatness and everyone's talking about him like he's the greatest fighter of all time, top pound for pound, he's already there. Like somebody like Jan, who's such a nice guy and humble, and he's honestly had a much harder road than Israel with a few losses in a row. To see him go and get the title, and then after having a conversation with him and saying he's just a legitimately nice guy, brand new father, gotta love that.
Oh, absolutely. And, I was trying to stir the pot a little bit. Of course I would. So I messaged Israel early when I was working out. I said, hey, champ, hope all's well. We've got your guy Jan joining the podcast later. Have you got a message or a question for him? And then if he came back, I was going to say, in fact, you want to jump on? But it's probably the middle of the night in fucking New Zealand. So that's the only reason he never responded.
Oh, so he's like, who this? New number.
Yeah, no, he's like, who this? New number. No, he hasn't even seen it yet. You get a scene, don't you? So it's the middle of the night in New Zealand. So understandable. All right.
I'm gonna on Thursday's show, I'm gonna ask you if he got back to you, because that's 3 full days for him to get back to you.
Well, if he doesn't get back, then he's dead to me. Thank you, Jan Blachowicz. I mean, what a guy. You know what I mean, Lewis? He's here. He's flown into Vegas early. He's got a massive fan. He's coming on here and he's singing some Polish folk songs for us. And when you look at him, he looks like a big, scary man. But what a great guy. I really enjoyed talking to him.
I can't deny it. Polish music is equally as terrifying as Jan's physical demeanor.
I didn't understand the word of that. I don't speak quite. Cześć, I know that. I know dziękuję, which is thank you. I think cześć is hello and goodbye, and dziękuję is thank you. But yeah, either way.
I was gonna say, I dated a Polish girl in high school. Well, not in high school. She was in high school. I was an adult now. When I was younger, I dated a Polish girl, and she was. Polish chicks are pretty hot, to be honest with you. That's like a culture of really beautiful women.
Yeah, well, I think mainland Europe, for the most part, have a lot of very, very attractive women. But still, either way, Jan Blachowicz, good luck in a couple of weeks. Really excited for that one, and thank you very much for joining us again.
All right, real quick, Mike, we must thank one of our brand new sponsors, which is the Carol Bike, Carol. The Carol Bike was designed to replace a fitness trainer with AI algorithms that determine the optimal personal resistance for each user. It means that resistance is automatically adjusted from session to session based on,
if you will, the resistance.
I know you love this.
But just 8 hours off. So once more, So, getting back to the fights on Saturday, of course, great card, and we're going to get to that insane knockout coming up. But co-main event, we had Ketlen Vieira taking on Yana Kunitskaya. Yana Kunitskaya is the Russian, obviously very striking looks, blonde hair, bright blue eyes. Thai boxing champion of Russia, Taekwondo champion of Russia. She came into the UFC with a massive reputation and a lot of stock. Remember, she just got a title shot against Cyborg right out of the blue. Cyborg kind of made short work of her. She's rebounded, and she got a very, very tough, hard-fought victory on Saturday night against Ketlen Vieira. Vieira's really strong. Obviously, after research, going to commentate, and she hits hard. Very, very strong boxing, excellent jiu-jitsu, good takedowns. So that was an absolutely massive win. But what did you think of that one, Lewis?
I thought it was a fun fight. You know, it was a little bit. My son started falling asleep during that one because it was a little more technical. Vieira ended up getting top position and honestly holding on to that position for a lot of the fight. So I think it was kind of surprising. Was it a split decision? No, it was unanimous.
Yeah, I think it was unanimous, and I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised because generally when you see a wrestler go out there and control the opponent and, you know, control them for that amount of time, generally that wins them the fight. You know, certainly I did do throughout my career, but of course the criteria has changed somewhat. But the first round I thought that Ketlen Vieira won that. I thought the second round was all Yana Kunitskaya, clearly. And then the third round, I actually thought it was going to go to Vieira because she got the takedown and she controlled her for a while. Now underneath, Kunitskaya was trying to land some shots. She was using some elbows. And then right at the end of the round, she managed to get on top and she landed some huge elbows from standing position and opened up a big cut on Vieira. So I guess that did enough just to kind of steal it. But what did you think when it went to the scorecards?
I mean, it was sort of up in the air. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, if you do that much damage at the end, this nasty, nasty elbow that just split her right open, I think, you know, physical damage that you do to your opponent means more, in my opinion, than, you know, controlling position. So I completely understood why. If you look at two girls at the end of that fight, the one person looked like they got the shit beat out of them, the other one looked, you know, basically fresh. So I had no problem with the decision. But if it went either way, I also would never had a problem with that either. And I think it's actually, it's indicative of the judges being a little bit more educated and just understanding the fight game more and more and more, because you used to see that all the time. Like, you know, back in the day, they would use just boxing judges, and the fact that the judges are sort of that astute and they're taking into consideration a lot of these other variables, I think it's great. Judging, not just like mixed martial arts, judging in mixed martial arts is also evolving. And yeah, I thought it was great, but it could have went either way, and I don't think either girl could really complain.
Yeah, to your point, at the end, she did land that big elbow, and that did open her up. But that was just like one strike, because of course elbows, they cut through skin very, very easily. So it kind of didn't portray the full, it didn't reflect the action of the fight. But you're right, Lewis, in everything you said there. I do totally agree with you. And I was just bringing this up on my phone, because I got sent this from the UFC a while ago. Obviously, as a commentator, we need to be informed on any kind of rule changes and what the judges are looking for in the judging criteria and whatnot. There's a lot of information here, but the part that's relevant to the discussion we're having is this, and I'll read it out. Prioritize criteria: effective striking and grappling, legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match, with the immediate weighing more heavily than the cumulative impact. These are hard sentences to say, I'll tell you that.
Can you read this any more confusingly?
Listen, I'm reading what it says.
Can we have John read this to us?
Yes, no problem. Okay, so for me, okay, listen, Polish sound not so good. My Polish, no problem. Okay, but now I said to you, effective striking and grappling, legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact, with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. Right? I still don't know what it means. Legal blows that have immediate, all right, I know that. Legal blows that have immediate, that's instantly. Or cumulative impact, okay, it's building, it's accumulating the impact, with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative. Okay, so he's saying,
I get it.
yeah. So if it's immediate as opposed to cumulative, the immediate is more favorable to the judge.
Meaning that elbow strike that could have easily ended the fight and did a lot of damage meant more than the cumulative strike damage that Vieira did throughout that entire third round.
Successful execution of takedowns. So I'm not going to mock Jan. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversal, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match, with the immediate weighing more heavily than the cumulative impact. It shall be noted that a successful takedown is not merely a changing of position, but the establishment of an attack from the use of the takedown. Top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful / effective result of their actions, more so than their position.
Right.
So I think what that's saying is if you take somebody down, that's great, that's good, it's a show of dominance, but you have to do something with it. You can't just take somebody down and do nothing and lay and pray, which, to be honest, that's kind of what Ketlen Vieira did in the third round. She did get the takedown, but then she kind of stalled. You know what I mean? She stayed in the guard, she controlled her, she stopped her from getting up, but she didn't take any chances. Now, when you take chances, if you go for ground and pound, if you go for big shots, you've got to give separation. If you're on your opponent and it's chest to chest and you've got downward pressure, obviously for them to get up is hard. But if you back up to give space to land the big shot, they then have that separation, they have that space and they can get back up. Just like when you're trying to pass guard. If you're trying to establish a better position, it gives your opponent a chance to get away. So I'm glad that they made that change in the rules, because if you're just lying on top of your opponent, you're not fighting effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at these stats here. 47 significant strikes by Kunitskaya, compared to just 7 from Vieira for the entire fight. How many submission attempts for Vieira? Do we know? 0.
No idea.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, with
0
0 submission attempts, 7 significant strikes, it's fine to be on top. It's fine to control the position, but honestly, she was getting beat up. I mean, look, this is the game of fighting, being punched in the head over and over again.
Well, there's one more thing here. It says as well, this criterion, what I just spoke about, this criterion will be the deciding factor in a high majority of decisions when scoring a round. The next 2 criteria must be treated as a backup and used only when effective striking, grappling is 100% equal for the round. So basically, they take that into consideration. If everything's very even, which it kind of was for the most part, certainly in that third round. So yeah, I mean, big win for Yana Kunitskaya.
And this rule or this judging criteria came out right before this event, you said, right?
Not right before this event. I got sent this a couple of weeks ago. But
Okay.
there's a lot of language here as well. There's a lot of other stuff as well.
It's very new, and I'm sure it was on the judges' minds. Like, this is new criteria. They're like, all right, well, this is the criteria we have to go by. So I would even look at this fight as an example of the judges going, no, this is specifically the criteria. And now it makes even that much more sense that keep on butchering the name, Kunitskaya won the fight as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Big win. I was kind of shocked, though, because, I'm not used to seeing the judges, for want of a better expression, being so woke, you know what I mean, and down to the actual proper criteria, because you see so many fights that you hear the judging, you're like, oh my God. So in my mind, I just automatically assumed that it was going to be a win for Vieira. So I started prepping all my stuff, because I've got to get up and I've got to talk to the winner. So I'm picking up all the stuff and looking at it, and I'm like, and then they get in me. No, it was Kunitskaya that won, not Vieira. I was like, oh shit, so I had to change everything. So well done to her. Right, that brings us to the big one of the night. Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades. Go ahead, Lewis. I'll let you take the wheel on this one now. I'll chime in afterwards.
Sure. I mean, what else you got to say? It was first round, all Curtis Blades, to the point where I was like, why is Derek Lewis not moving? He's just standing there with his back foot up against the cage. And you said something during the broadcast where you're like, he's just waiting for that uppercut. And I texted you. I was like, God damn it, Bisping, could you call it anymore? Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. You've called a lot of fights recently where you're like, this is exactly what they need to do, and that's exactly what happens. So you said it during the broadcast. You said, look, you throw the uppercut because if you miss it, you're positioned for underhooks. So he was sort of waiting for that one big shot. I think Derek, after the fight, also said that he wasn't feeling like himself, you know, so he was sort of like stuck, I guess. But I thought that Curtis Blades was going to win that fight handily because he was out striking him. He was just, you know, he was landing essentially at will, it seemed. And Derek Lewis didn't seem to really come alive until that second round. But when he came alive, holy shit. God, I mean, one of the most brutal. I mean, Derek Lewis is what he does. He knocks people out in brutal, devastating fashion. And it was particularly brutal, particularly devastating. Who was it, Herb Dean? Where the fuck was Herb Dean on those 3 follow-up shots? Not saying that he wasn't doing his job. I'm just saying, Jesus Christ, with a guy as big as Derek Lewis, he could do some real damage there. I didn't hear it, but people were saying afterwards, because I was right as soon as the fight ended, I put my kid to bed, he fell asleep. But apparently you could hear Curtis Blades sort of like moaning and gurgling, and it was like a really, really brutal sound.
Oh, it's even worse when you're there. I mean, of course, I mean, I've been on the receiving ends of knockouts like that as well, but still, even though I'm kind of desensitized to it because I've been around it for so long, when you're sitting there and just a few feet in front of you, someone is like out cold. And when it's weird when it's a giant man like Curtis Blades as well, it just seems so much more impactful, you know, and he was asleep for a while. You know, he wasn't moving for several minutes. I was like, whoa. I was like, come on, I hope he's going to be okay.
Is this the one we just witnessed the first death in the UFC?
Is this the one? Exactly, because I didn't want to say that, because it's probably going to happen one day. The reality is, unfortunately, I hope it never does, and I hope to God and pray. I'm not a religious man, but you know what I'm saying, that is a figure of speech. I hope that never, ever happens, but, I mean, Jesus Christ, when you possess the kind of power that Derek Lewis does, it wouldn't surprise me if it did sometime. But yeah, going to the fight, Curtis Blades was very upfront about his game plan going into this one. He said, listen, I'm going to wrestle. Why would I risk my win bonus of $100,000 by trying to stand with one of the heaviest hitters in the organization? Of course I have a big advantage in the wrestling, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, after seeing the first round, I do kind of wonder if that was a little bit of smoke signals or just trying to like mislead Derek Lewis, you know what I mean, get him to think he was going to wrestle and come out with the hands, because his striking did look good. You know, he was getting in and out, he landed some nice 1-2s, he was chopping up the leg of Derek Lewis a little bit as well, and it was a clear 10-9 victory for Curtis Blades in that one. Now, he did try to take him down a couple of times, and that was unsuccessful. And when you get unsuccessful with the takedowns, you have no choice. You got to go to the striking, simple as that. And I was talking to Rashad Evans before the fight, and I asked him, I said, what do you think of this one? And he said, yeah, I've got Curtis probably winning this fight because of the wrestling. He said, but he has to be careful, because sometimes he can get kind of sloppy when he goes for his entries. He does it from a little bit too far out, and against a guy like Derek Lewis, and with him hitting so hard, he's got to be really careful. And anyway, you might have noticed I said that on the broadcast, and I was like, oh shit, I apologize to Rashad, because I'm throwing him under a bus, because we're having a private conversation in the locker room, and I'm fucking revealing what he said on TV. So apologies, Rashad. But yeah, so what Lewis did, that was the perfect game plan, really, because he knows he has the power. The man has the most knockouts in the UFC. He already had the most knockouts in heavyweight history. Now he's got the most knockouts in UFC history, tied with Vitor Belfort. Yeah, which is an incredible stat. So he knows he's got the power, right? So just fuck it. Just wait there against the fence. Pretty much that's what he did. Because if you get taken down, the fence is your friend. The fence is your friend. You don't want to be taken out in the open. It's way harder to get back up. So plant your ass by the fence, and when he comes in, just look for those fucking counters. And
that was on purpose. It wasn't that he was being backed up against the fence. He was waiting on the fence because if he got taken down.
Well, I would say so, yeah. I mean, I don't know that because I never asked him that. But you always, if you get taken down, number one, the fence will help you because you can lean against it when you're getting your whizzer and you're trying to dig for underhooks and stuff. Because if you're in the open, all they're going to do is drive forward and you're going to go down. Here you have a fence to lean against. You see what I'm saying? And then you can turn your hips, you can do the whizzer, and you get underhooks and all the rest of it. And also, if you do get taken down, you can wall walk. There's many different techniques. Whereas out in the open, it's much harder. Because if you try and get back to your feet, all they have to do is drive into you more and you just go down. You know what I'm saying? So getting back to your feet is much harder. Derek Lewis isn't the kind of guy that's going to be hitting high-level jiu-jitsu sweeps. He's just not that dude. So the fence being there was very strategic. And then, yeah, of course, the uppercut. Because a classic maneuver that people use when the fighting wrestlers, oh, time the knee. And people always, back in the day, it was like, oh, just knee them as they're coming in. And I remember, you know, a lot of people have executed that perfectly and knocked out their opponent, but it's fucking hard. And the risk of using the knee is that when they're shooting in, you throw the knee, unless you land with the patella to the face, the actual knee, the bone part of the knee, it doesn't really hurt. Because if you get them with the thigh, a thigh to the face, it might bother you for a moment, but it's fuck all. It's fuck all, really. And then what are you doing? What are you doing? You're giving them a thigh to the face, but you're also giving them the leg. You're giving them the takedown. Whereas if you throw an uppercut, number one, you're on your feet, right? You're not giving them a leg and you've got your stance. And if you throw an uppercut and it doesn't get the job done, look at from here, it's just, look at this hand here, uppercut, boom, underhook, here, so boom, shum, and there it is, straight into the fucking underhook. So it's the perfect attack. But fuck me, I don't think I've ever seen anyone deliver it and execute it quite so good as that, because Curtis was out before he even hit the deck. You could see, because he froze, and then he just fell like that face first, and then, fuck me, Derek Lewis, he's quick for such a big man, because he managed to get in 3 more blows, right? And I know Dan Henderson did that to me, right? And I know he blamed Herb Dean afterwards. Well, Herb Dean should have got in quicker or something like that. And to be fair, because when I got home, Rebecca was waiting up for me. She's like, well, what did you think of those blows? That was a bit nasty. I'm like, not really. Unfortunately, that's the game we sign up for, you know, and until the referee drags you off, you don't stop. You know, now, okay, some people, they see their opponents unconscious and they stop, you know. Other people don't. Jorge Masvidal did it to, I don't know who it was, and he said, no, Ben Askren, they had some punches. They said, do you not think that was unnecessary? He said, no, it was super necessary, you know. So, I mean, there's 2 trains of thoughts on it, but you step in that cage, that's the way it goes.
The walk-away knockout looks cool as shit, looks badass, boom, knock him out, walk away without even looking at him on the ground. Or it also looks pretty cool to jump on top of him and drive some elbows into his head. Both were pretty badass. There's really no right or wrong way. As a fan, it was pretty incredible. Obviously, Curtis Blades being okay after the fight, he makes it, you know, it's fine. It's just a great little highlight for Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis now obviously takes the number 2 spot. Curtis Blades was ranked number 2. Derek Lewis was ranked number 4 going into the fight. He jumps, and Derek Lewis has that win over Francis Ngannou. Now, granted, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing win. I think it was sort of the low point for both of their UFC careers. But at the same time, you know, that story is right there. If Ngannou can beat Stipe, boom, Derek Lewis getting a title shot automatically.
No, well, listen, of course, but so you got Stipe versus Ngannou. That's happening first. Then we got John Jones waiting in the wings, and I think Lewis even came out and said that. Maybe you can bring up the quote, Harrington. He said afterwards, he said, "No, I'm not looking for a title shot. I'm not ready for a title shot." I think that's what he said. Just confirm that, please, Harrington. But I think that's what he said afterwards. And I got to say, I really respect that honesty, you know, because no doubt he wants to be the fucking the champion of the world. But let's remember, Derek Lewis is a guy. I think he was in prison at one point. He's a guy that had no prior martial arts training. You know, this wasn't a guy, like, I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was a kid, doing Japanese jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and things like that, and a lot of people have that kind of background. Derek Lewis is a guy that just, you know, he knew he was just a big hard, no, you know, he's probably tested his fighting ability on the street many, many times. The guy ended up inside for a while, you know, so he knows he's a pro, he knows he can fight. He's like, fuck it, I'm going to give this MMA thing a go. And he has turned it into an incredible career. I mean, as I said, the most knockouts in UFC history. But when he fought Daniel Cormier, the high-level wrestling, it kind of exposed him. So that's why I thought Curtis Blades coming into this one, I kind of thought, you know, my money would have been on Curtis, but he handled that perfectly. But he's very realistic. He's calling out Alistair Overeem. He says he has some personal beef with Alistair Overeem. So that'd be a good fight for Derek. If I'm Overeem after just getting knocked out Volkov, I would avoid that fight with Derek Lewis like the fucking plague. No disrespect to Overeem. I love Overeem. I'm a huge fan and I love everything he's done. It's just not a smart fight. If I'm Volkov after beating Overeem last week, I'm probably trying to get that rematch with Derek Lewis. Lewis is going to have to try and stay busy. Number one, he wants to earn money. That's how we earn money. I mean, he's earning hundreds of thousands of dollars. So take another fight Volkov in the meantime, let the heavyweight division clean itself out, you know, and then if he beats Volkov, maybe gets a title fight down the line.
Yeah, I mean, for Derek Lewis to say he's not ready for a title shot after he's already beaten Francis Ngannou is just kind of weird to me. I appreciate the humility, but do you think that there may be, I want to choose my words carefully because I don't want to offend Derek Lewis, because I'm a big fan of Derek Lewis, and I think honestly any given Sunday he could be the champion of the world. He's got the style that he could just knock out any man put in front of him. Do you think that there's any sign of maybe, I don't want to say mental weakness, but you know what I'm going for, like just
Lewis?
Derek Lewis, and the fact that he doesn't think that he's ready for a title shot, even though he's very decorated as UFC heavyweight.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I understand why you would ask that question, you know, because a lot of people would say, well, hold on a minute, everybody wants to be the champ. He's been around long enough. It's not like it's his first 1 or 2 fights in the UFC. You know, he's proven, he's tried and tested, he's got the most knockouts in the history of the company, so you would think he wants that. So I understand what you're saying, but I actually see it differently. I actually respect what he said, and I just think there's a real sense of realism to him, is that, hold on a minute, because if you fight for the title, you want to win. Because if you lose, and you lose quite badly, you're going to have a hard time ever getting a title shot again. You know what I mean? The title shots don't come around too often. They don't give it to the same person on multiple times unless you fucking go back and clean out the entire division again. So he wants to know that he's fully ready, you know, and of course, he's not going to lower himself to calling out the champ anyway, because he knows damn well that that's not going to happen. There's a backlog. There's Stipe fighting Ngannou, and then Jones is next. You know, so let those fights clear out, and in the meantime, he can work on his grappling, he can work on his takedown defense, work on some conditioning, you know. So then when he gets that title fight, he wins, and he can capitalize on it, as opposed to just getting a nice one-time payday and some extra Instagram followers.
He said, I don't want the main event. I don't deserve the main event. I don't want to go 5 rounds. I hate 5 rounds. My body is like, all right, keep on fucking around. We're going to retire. I can't go 5 rounds. Very honest, and I appreciate it, but when you knock out the number 2 guy in devastating fashion, you become the number 2 guy. Derek Lewis, if he really wanted, he could really make a case and start calling out John Jones. But John Jones, you come up to heavyweight, motherfucker. Let's go. And by the way, that would be an incredible fight. Oh,
could you imagine?
God. John Jones versus Derek Lewis.
John Jones versus Derek Lewis. Fucking John would be working those takedowns. I'm telling you. Right, John's great. He's the GOAT at 205. You know, maybe the GOAT in the entire divisions. But it changes everything, because that is an equalizer. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like, with respect, and I mean this, I really mean that. With respect to Derek Lewis, on paper, Curtis Blades is a much better fighter. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter, because one fucking shot is all it takes, and he knows that, and everybody knows that. Francis Ngannou knew that, you know what I mean? And you see the way Derek Lewis just skated around the octagon fence Saturday night, because I said before, he was, you know, about the takedowns, but he's also waiting for his opponent to come in. Ngannou was doing the exact same thing. That's why it turned into one of the worst fights we've ever seen in UFC history, because they're both like, we both know we can kill each other. We can flatline each other right now with this.
You remember, like, what the fuck is going on? These are the 2 scariest guys in the UFC, and they stared at each other.
I kind of want to see that fight again, though. I really do. I mean, if Stipe wins, if Ngannou wins that fight and becomes the champion, and if he gets past John Jones, I would love to see that for the belt. I really would. It'd be awesome. But anyway,
sorry, Mike, I apologize, but is John Jones definitely next in line for the belt? Is that been confirmed?
It's been, yeah, that's a given. From what I'm understanding for quite some time. Yeah. So anyway, so that got me thinking. I went to Twitter earlier. Is that one of the best knockouts we've ever seen in the UFC? So I went to Twitter. I said, hey, we're discussing the world. So fortunately, people can decipher what I meant. Fuck me. You ever do that? You write out a text, and then you look at it afterwards, you're like, oh my God. I tried to say, what's the worst knockout you've ever seen? But I said, what's the word knock you've seen? Discussing on the BYM pod, already including mine at UFC 100, so puss off, meant to be piss off. Obviously related to the crazy KO at the weekend. So what I'm trying to say is, what's the worst knockout you've ever seen? And is that one of them? Because that was a devastating knockout. But off the top of your head, Lewis, before I write him off some of these on Twitter, what do you think? What is like some of the best knockouts in UFC history? And Hamilton and Brian as well, feel free to chime in.
Was it Ngannou versus Alistair? Is that what I'm thinking?
Ooh, that was a bad one.
That one was, you know, we're talking about worst knockouts. I'm talking about, when I say worst, I'm not saying best. Literally worst, like you're scared for the guy who got knocked out. Ngannou versus Alistair was like crazy. I've also become somewhat desensitized to the blood. So whenever somebody's bloody, that's not really a big deal. But that's one of the ones where I was like, holy shit, dude, it looked dangerous. It looked like Alistair was going to be in another world for a while. I've
got some excellent suggestions here on Twitter, so they did decipher. I'll just go through some of them. Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar a couple of weeks ago. That was the top of the list there. That was a good one. Michael Venom Page, the knockout over Cyborg Santos. Did you see that, Lewis? Probably not.
I did see. So this is my era where he indented his skull with a flying knee.
Yes, correct. You did see it. You did see it. Okay, well done. What do you mean your era? What do you mean that's your... How the fuck is Bellator and Michael Venom Page your era?
Because when that fight happened, that was probably 5-6 years ago at least. That's when I was, starved for mixed martial arts content. You got to remember, just a few years ago, there wasn't a fight on every weekend. The UFC was not giving us 13 fights a week. It was once a month for the UFC, once a month for Bellator, and I would consume literally everything.
All right, back to the knockouts. We don't want your life story, Lewis.
You asked me why it's my era. I know,
it's a joke. It's a joke.
I should laugh. It's a joke.
Laugh, take it lightly. Maybe give me a fucking little dig back. That's how it works. Edson Barboza, wheel kicking Terrietti. Fuck me, that was a good one.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, all right.
These are all beautiful knockouts. They're all incredible knockouts. I'm just talking about ones that seem dangerous. Ones where you're like, fuck, dude. I feel bad for the guy who got knocked out.
Yeah, well, anytime you go unconscious, I feel bad for the other person. Ngannou versus Overeem, as you said, that was a crazy one. The double knockout, Matt Hughes versus Carlos Newton. Yeah, that doesn't really deserve to be on the worst ever list. I've got to give a shout out to this guy on Twitter, @GMCGert. Because I asked, on Twitter, this guy fucking did his homework, man. He came out with a ton. Masvidal versus Askren, 5 second, fastest one ever. That was unreal. Ngannou versus Overeem. Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey. That was a good one. That was shocking on the night. Hendo versus you. Sorry, you're a fucking prick. GMC Gert.
Oh yeah, that's literally one of the most devastating knockouts in UFC history.
Yeah, I preempted it in my text. I'm like, including the one of me, arsehole, so I'll jog on. Joaquin Buckley versus Kasanganay. Remember, he had that jumping spin kick. Yeah. Oh, that was unreal. McGregor versus Aldo.
Great, incredible.
13 seconds. Matt Serra versus St. Pierre. And then on the last one on his list, Rashad Evans versus Chuck Liddell. That was a good one as well.
Yeah, we'll chuck out a few nasty ones towards the end.
I think there's Hamilton there, Shevchenko versus Jessica I. That was a good one. The thing is, Chaos Williams, he had a really, really big one just recently. I forget who it was that he knocked out. Hold on, who was it? Not Michelle Pereira. That was his next fight. But the fight before that, he knocked someone out. And yeah, I was concerned for that guy as well. To be honest, there's so many good knockouts in the UFC. There really is. Every bloody weekend almost. There's that's why it's hard to remember them all.
Well, I think one that we did not mention was Amanda Nunes over Holly Holm, which was fucking devastating.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. All right, Harrington, do you want to throw some of these big news stories at us? And we'll go for a little bit here, about an hour 48. So, Harrington, we'll just throw a few of these news stories at us before we get out of here. So they're, we'll discuss them now as seen as they're relevant. And then we'll
just pulling those up. Let me do plugs real quick. Go to our iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, positive review. We love the positive reviews. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the little notification button, get notifications every time we go live. And of course, you get the entire on-demand library at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Every episode we've ever done, both ad-free and uncensored. So go do that and support the show. And if you guys want to join the conversation, I want more video questions. I'm going to take a moment here. Right now, if you're a fan of the show, you've never sent in a video question, now's your time to shine, baby boy. Send us a video question to bympod@gmail.com. The wackier, the funnier, the better, obviously. But honestly, if it's just a good, solid question, we're going to play it on the show. Not the generics. Michael Bisping, if you could have dinner with one person alive or dead.
Oh, don't ever ask that question again. I get asked it a lot, but you're right. We don't want that generic bullshit. We want some good, funny, interesting stuff out there. Maybe offensive, who knows? But yeah, please send it in, bympod@gmail.com. Brian just puts there as well, podcast merch. I'm working on some with my friend over at Violent Gentleman. That should be done real soon and ready to go. So keep an eye out for that. And whoever sends in the best question, maybe once a month we'll send out some free merch as well. But still, Harrington, are you there? Show yourself. I'm talking to nobody. Can you get your house in order, Lewis? Can you give him a little whip or something? Give him a little slap, a little dead arm. There he is.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin, what's up?
All right, that's maybe a little uncalled for.
Why is that offensive? He's a very famous comedian.
Because I talk, so I'm not a silent film star.
Maybe it'd be better if you were.
Yeah, fair enough. Kind of walk right into that one. England.
England's Arnold Allen, huge fan favorite of this show. A lot of people in the comments been talking about him week to week. Has finally been booked for a fight. He's had about 18 months off now. Last time he fought was January of 2020. He's booked for April 10th against Sadiq Youssef, number 10 versus number 11, respectively. Arnold Allen coming in as number 11, guys. Sadiq Youssef as number 10. Just want to get you guys' take on that, superstar featherweight matchup.
Yeah, no, it's a great fight. Sadiq Youssef is very, very tough. And Arnold Allen, the guy's good. He's so good, in fact, He's one of those guys that, flies under the radar a little bit. Because he is so good, but he doesn't really get the recognition. For the most part, predominantly he's fought in the UK, and he's been on the undercard. So, it's hard to break out like that. But his last fight, I think it was Norfolk, Virginia, or it was either Raleigh, North Carolina. I remember I called it, and I went to the gym. I went to the gym to have a workout, and his dad and his brother, maybe his dad and someone, anyway, they were at the gym as well. So they were going back to the hotel. I said, jump in the Uber with me. Just pick their brains. Always trying to get research, you know what I'm saying? So I jumped in. They were colourful. Yeah, Arnold Allen, he's great, man. He's great. Very, very good fight. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, me too.
There you go. Boom, 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 boom. Next one, Harrington. Good play.
Harrington.
Great insight, Lewis.
What am I going to say? Yeah, Arnold Allen, he's a fucking little British guy. Great.
Whoa. Little British guy. You know what I mean? Number one, he's a average-sized British guy. But I didn't like the connotation that he said British. I don't know. It seemed a little insulting. Just watch your step, Lewis. Harrington, next.
145-pound man. So
he will fuck you up, Harrington.
I don't doubt it.
He will fuck you up. 145 pounds.
Lewis is way bigger than me, though. I'm just saying.
He will fuck Lewis up as well.
Pick your point, Arnold Allen or Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, which one? I'd rather pick Tom Aspinall. You don't
get knocked out. You miss one punch, you're out. You wake up. That wasn't that bad.
Well, it's not just that either. You get your ass kicked off Tom Aspinall. He's a 6'6" heavyweight in the UFC. You're like, what, 6'1", 230 pounds. You get beat up by a 145er. Do you know what I mean? It's not a good look. You got more respect getting your ass kicked off the big guy.
And not for nothing, Arnold Allen would probably knock me or Harrington out with one punch as well. It was
very good. He is very good.
But I always think about that, like, just getting beat up by a little guy. They just pelt you with 1,000 punches. You're bleeding everywhere. You're like, please, somebody get me out of this. I would rather be knocked out with one punch any day of the week.
Yeah, it's so annoying because you can't argue with those guys and you can't fight with them either. And they know that. Those little bastards, they know that you're not going to fight with them. So they talk shit. They talk a lot of shit because you can't fight because you look terrible. Anyway, Harrington, where were we? Give me your next piece of not so much news.
Maybe you can actually shed some light on this, with your Circle of Trust insights. Gilbert Burns has been calling for Colby Covington over and over again. Keeps putting on Twitter, Colby, where you at? Colby with like the little, eye emoji. I saw somewhere on Twitter that they're reporting they're targeting a May 8th headliner, Gilbert Burns versus Colby Covington. I don't know anything about this, but it seems like the title is locked up. Leon Edwards is locked up. These two are the only guys in the top 5 who don't have dance partners. It would kind of make sense. A, what do you guys think about this fight? And B, have you heard anything about a possible May showdown between the two?
I haven't heard anything about that one, unfortunately, because that would be a great fight. And I hope it does materialize, because Covington needs to fight. Gilbert Burns obviously just lost to Usman, but still, I mean, if he was to take that fight, it just shows just shows the balls on Gilbert Burns to go from a title fight to the next hardest fight, if you will, in the division. It sounds like Masvidal is going to be fighting Usman. That's all but a done deal. So I mean, it does make sense. We got who's Leon Edwards fighting again? He's fighting. Who's he fighting? Oh, he's fighting Bilal Muhammad. So, yeah. I mean, I haven't heard anything about that. In fact, also, here's how people lie. Because I said something to Harrington. I said, oh, what fight was it, Harrington, that I said that had been added? I said, oh, make sure we put this in the notes.
It was Chandler and
Tony Ferguson. Yeah. So I checked that with the UFC, and they're like, no, not happening. In fact, we don't even have an event on that day.
That is a great fight, though, by the way. That is a great fight to make.
Oh, that would have been a great fight. I know, that's why. Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, that'd be awesome. And it's kind of logical, Chandler, by the sound of it, isn't going to get a title shot anytime soon. And Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, by the sounds of what I'm hearing, what I read online and saw press conferences and Dana's quotes, I don't think they're going to do the title for that either. So what the fuck? I think they're waiting for Khabib to come back. But yeah, Hamilton, what have you got for us, bud?
So Sean O'Malley took to Twitter. He said, or in an interview, he said he's tired of fans coming up to him, DMing him, talking about losing money betting on him. He said, I would tell you guys to bet on me, but I said that last time, and I still get messages from people telling me I owe them $1,000. So don't bet on me. Bet on Thomas. Bet on Thomas to win. He elaborated, I'm too fast, too sharp, too focused for the fight. There's just no way he beats me. But I can't say that because you never know what's going to happen. My question is two-part for you guys. One, Mr. Bisping, has anyone ever busted your balls about losing money from betting on them? And then, Lewis, are you telling people to bet on you or Jason Ellis for your big fight coming up?
So I'll go first. Yeah, many times. I've had people come up to me and afterwards, I mean, it's nice now because on the flip side, I have people come up to me and say, I made so much money when you knocked out Rockhold. Thank you for that. So that's very nice. So you got to take the rough with the smooth. You can't have it both ways. You can't take all the praise, but then take no criticism. You know what I'm saying? I understand what Sean O'Malley's saying because it is annoying. And it's like, listen, buddy, that's up to you. And no one put a gun to your head and forced you to make that bet. I certainly didn't sit you down and tell you about my training camp and break down the fight and show you and demonstrate how superior I am to my opponent. No, we never did that. You made a judgment call. You made the bet. You put your money down. So that's on you. So it is a little tiresome and it is a little bit annoying when people do that, but it just kind of comes with the territory. You know what I mean? When anybody can bet on you and you lose money, certainly if you lose a lot of money, yeah, they might be, subconsciously a little annoyed with you.
And it's nice to see Sean O'Malley with a little bit of humility, right? So he's like, hey, you never know what could happen. I think Sean's a little cocky, right? He's got definitely, he lost that fight against Cheeto Vera. And, he was like, no, I didn't lose that fight. It was just sort of like, all right, Sean, just fucking slow your roll. You're going to lose a fight. It happens, right? You're an incredible fighter. But the fact that he's showing a little humility, maybe a little bit of maturity, maybe a little mental maturity, I think that's great. Who am I going to tell people to bet on against me and Jason Ellis? All fucking day. Put your money on me. I'm not going into any fight to lose. And if I was going to tell you to bet on Jason Ellis, I think that would be a very, very bad sign.
Yeah, no, never, ever. Any self-respecting man, even if you think you're not going to win, even if that little bit of doubt does creep in, you never go out and say, hey, bet on him because he's going to lose. Because if you've got any kind of balls, you're like, well, fuck it, there's a possibility I'm not going to win this fight, but I'm going to try and win, and I think I've got a good chance of doing it still. So, yeah, fair play to you, Lewis. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about mixed martial arts. There's nothing that's guaranteed. There's so many ways you could win or lose a fight that it's one of the
things are guaranteed. Some things are guaranteed.
One of the factors about mixed martial arts.
A lot of things are guaranteed when you get disparity in opponent level. I'm not talking about you and Jason Ellis. I'm just saying if a shit fighter goes up a really good fighter, more 99.9999999 infinite, the good fighter's going to win.
Yeah.
More than likely.
More than likely. However, this is a sport where, there's always, what's behind door number 3. And it could be a punch, a submission, somebody outworking the other one, somebody having a mental edge. There's so many factors. And it's one of the reasons why mixed martial arts is the greatest sport in the world. It's any given Sunday, anybody could knock somebody out, submit somebody, and it makes you never want to take your eyes off. So how many times have you been watching a fight and they say it's a hack thing to say at this point? They say don't blink, and then you blink. You looked at your wife for a second, you looked, and you missed the end of the fight. That's happened so many times to me.
You want to try it when you're commentating, Lewis? it's literally your fucking job. But as a human being, sometimes, you know what I mean, your eyes wander. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm looking at my phone because I never do that when I'm commentating. Maybe in between, if you're on commercial break, you glance down and throw a little tweet out or whatever. But when the fights are on, you're doing your thing. But then sometimes you get a tap on the shoulder, so you look round and it's Dana White and he's saying what's up or whatever. You do little things, or you just you lean over there to grab a drink and you have a drink and you look away for a second. And I've only got one eye, so if I look that way, I can't see fucking anything. And then I look back and I'm like, he's unconscious. How did that happen? How did we get there? And they're like, Mike.
It's being excited.
And they're like, Michael, talk the crowd through it. What happened? Here's the replay. Go. And I'm like, I've got no fucking idea. I didn't see it. But yeah. All right, listen. That is our show. We're going to be back Thursday. I think Thursday, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson will be joining us as well.
Oh,
it wasn't because that's what that was the first thing that I thought of when I saw you lose was, man, now he has to stay home. He should be staying in Abu Dhabi or Dubai for a month. How was it? the early days of that process as you were kind of dealing? Because I'm sure the first thing you wanted to do was go home, right, afterwards?
Oh, I feel like that was like a big part of my reaction to the fight. You know, as soon as the fight was over, like taking the gloves off and that, because I was just like, in that moment, then and there, I was, this is a waste of time. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was thinking complete and utter waste of time. I came all this way, and I feel like I didn't even get in a fight. Is from the way I felt. But that's a funny way that life plays out. Doesn't always give you the things that you want. Overall, I had a great experience. Got to Fight Island. Had an amazing time in Dubai. Met some great people. Got some good training in. Some good contacts. And I'll definitely look to get back there in the future and train there and get some more work. And so overall, positive experience. Hands down, positive experience. It's just funny how life works out that way sometimes. And yeah, the people. There's people that have been saying, oh, you know, you got knocked out, wasted time, blah blah blah. Like, I feel like those are the kind of people that don't see the point in getting on a roller coaster. That's that's what the sport is. Every time you sign up for a fight, every time you get over there, you go through the experience. It's like a roller coaster ride, man. It's overall, you know, this is another step forward for me.
How long did it take for you to get over taking off the gloves and saying this isn't worth it, and then saying like, oh, of course, I'm going to continue fighting? How long was that grieving period, if you will?
I trained Monday.
Okay.
So
I mean, the fight was Sunday morning, right? So it was like not even a full day.
Sunday morning, we were in Abu Dhabi Port. We got the brief in the hotel that afternoon, and we went to Dubai. Got set up at our hotel. Yeah, and I was at the gym. I was at the gym Monday, and I trained every day. Yeah, I said it. I was like, man, I'm gonna drink my sorrows away, and I went to the bar in Dubai, and it's like super expensive to drink. It's like $20 a beer. So I was like, oh man, I'm not. I'm too tight to drink my sorrows away. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to training, man.
And you say you had someone there with you?
Yeah, I had a training partner. Is a student of mine, next student of mine. He was the one that come over to me and then was cornering me for the fight.
Okay, so he was there the entire time, and he's in isolation as well now?
Well, so when we originally booked, there was one spot a week earlier that was, and so I gave it to him. I was dragging him, and
wow.
I don't want to steal his spot. I dragged him all the way, but once we were in Dubai and having fun, he was like, man, why are you sending me home early? I want to stay. Because, you know, he's young and single, having a good time in Dubai.
I'm assuming you've watched the fight?
Oh, of course. I've been tagging it a million times. It's pretty. It's a beautiful shot. That's all I can say. You know, it's my opinion, as I've said it for a long time. A good chin is a myth. That's an absolute myth. It's just people that get hit in the chin. It's just a perfect shot once you understand like how the human anatomy works and how everything ticks over, and it's just one of those things. Like, I was hit a lot in the previous fights, in the Poirier fight and the Felder fight, but not a shot like that. It was just a perfectly placed, perfectly timed punch.
Obviously, the punch is very much responsible for it all, but did you feel like other things went wrong in the build-up to the punch? I mean, I know it wasn't the longest fight of all time, but your overall take on how the fight played out, did you feel like other things could have gone differently in your favor? Or you could have done things differently?
Oh, of course. I could have done. There's a million different things that I could have done.
What do you wish you could have done?
that's like it's in the past. You have to move on. Sitting on that and dwelling on that and saying I should have moved this way. I should have moved that way. I should have thrown this punch, this kick. There's a million different things, but I do not have a time machine. That is totally and utterly out of my control. Now it's about ensuring that that doesn't happen in the future. So it's the takeaways. It's I'll go back and I'll speak with my coaches, and I'll without a doubt they'll have a plan. They'll have a plan to correct the mistakes that were made, and so we can ensure that that doesn't happen again. That's one thing that I've always thought and learned, and being able to improve is don't take criticism from people you don't go to for advice. I go to my coaches for advice. So those are the people that I listen to their criticism, because I know well and truly that it's going to be constructive criticism.
Speaking of your coaches, how big of a deal in hindsight was it to not have Eugene with you there?
It's just fighting at this time. It's just the way things played out. It would have been just as hard for him to not be there as it was, for me to not have him. But it's just fighting under these times. It's funny because I see the rankings now, and there's a lot of guys that have just sat out for as long as I've fought. I took the short notice Dustin Poirier and then Michael Chandler going over there without my team that I would like to bring with me, and I see them still ranked. I would have still been ranked in the top 5. That's a funny thing. I could have sat out that entire time and I still would have been ranked in the top 5. But it's not the fighter I am. That's not the person I am. That's not the man I am. And that's not like, man, I got an ugly ass record as it is. It's not like I've got to protect the damn thing. Like, I know it's a powerful thing knowing that you can pick yourself back up. That's one thing I can say. It's a very, even if I get knocked down, I know I have full confidence that I have the ability to pick myself back up and get back out there. So that is what allows me to take a lot of risks that a lot of other guys aren't willing to take, because maybe they're not so confident that they can pick themselves back up if they get defeated, or if things don't go their way, if they get knocked out, if they get choked out. But it's something that it's an ability that I've always had, is to overcome these kind of tests and overcome these kind of challenges. I've been dragged through wars. I've been beaten up for 5 rounds. I've been choked unconscious. Now I've been knocked out in a fight, and it's all the same. It's all the same. I cannot say that one type of loss hurts any more than any other kind of loss. Losing by narrow split decision and getting knocked out in the first round, they're just as hard to overcome. They're both exactly as difficult to put in the past. But yeah, it's just a new experience that I've had. I'll learn, I'll grow, and I'll get back out there.
Was that something that you always had in you? Like, did you always know how to pick yourself back up, or is this something that you have learned as you've grown older as a fighter?
It's something that I've learned through maturity. Like it used to, I can honestly say, that, man, we all have the same. We all want to be I wanted to be Anderson Silva. I wanted the. I remember having my very first fight, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be I get my first win. I was like, I'm gonna be undefeated forever. My very next professional fight was a loss. Now I'm on it. Like, my dream was crushed. My undefeated dream was crushed. It's just not. That's just not my story. Like, everyone has their role to play. Israel is a bloody unicorn. That guy's I think he's underappreciated in New Zealand, just because he's a damn unicorn. He's one in a million. Not everyone's going to be the undefeated multi-division champion. It's just not my place. Maybe my place. I would prefer myself to have that spot and be the undefeated guy. But it's just not the way that my story has been. My story's an absolute roller coaster, man. But I'm more motivated than ever to to prove to everyone else that you don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be undefeated. You don't need the prettiest record. You don't need to play it safe. You don't need to protect your record. You can go out there. You can put it on the line. You can put yourself to the test. You can pick yourself back up. And if you really want it, then you can get there.
So you say you're more motivated than ever. Obviously, you want to get through this process, and I'm sure you want to spend time at home. And then you have to think about going through the process potentially again. Hopefully, this doesn't last forever. But like,
I'm not even thinking about the next time. I don't even want to.
well, when I hear someone say a fighter stay motivated, I think, oh, I want to get right back on the horse. But in these days, it's a little different. So realistically, how far away do you think you possibly are from returning? Because I'm sure you want to right the wrong, right? You want to get back on track. But I mean, in this climate, that could be 6, 8, 9, 10 months from now, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's a funny time, so guys have to take the opportunities when they come, especially for a fighter like me. So I can say it. I can say, oh, I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But man, I'll ride the bullet, son. When I get that email, I ride the bullet. It's very difficult for me. It's like it's in here, man. It's in here. Once I get a name and once everything, I change my tune extremely quickly.
Did you underestimate Michael Chandler?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't take him lightly whatsoever. I knew the kind of threat that he brought to the table. It's just the sport we play. You get that one chance, and let the chips fall as they may. You know, it didn't go my way. That's a funny thing. It's like winning or losing doesn't. A fight, as a singular fight in a singular moment, doesn't make you any less or any better as a fighter. If I had done the same thing to Michael Chandler and then I walk out, as soon as I step out of the octagon, that doesn't make me a better fighter. That doesn't make me any more skillful. That doesn't make me any fitter, any stronger, any more talented. It's the same thing with a loss. I stepped out of the octagon after getting knocked out. It doesn't make me any less skillful of a fighter. It's just the way that the chips fell.
And so, have you even allowed yourself to think of who might make sense, or you're not even going there as far as the next one? Do you even daydream about this sort of thing?
Like I kind of have an idea, but I'm in a position now where I'm getting through this damn quarantine. That's the one thing before I think about doing the next one. I'm the only reason I have names in my head that I've thought about, but I'm hesitant to say names because I feel as a fighter, as soon as you say someone's name, or as soon as you mention someone, that's fighting words. If someone says Dan Hooker, that's fighting words. You've challenged me to a fight. As soon as you say my name and I say it back, I believe that we should fight. We should fight. So if I say a name and that guy says, yeah, cool, and then it comes back to me, and then I say, oh, you wait till late June. Like that's I'm not going to call someone up for a fight if I can't back it up. I feel like when I'm in the position where I can get out of the country again, because right now it's impossible. If they said you want to fight this guy next weekend, like technically it's impossible. I can't. So yeah, when I'm in a position to fight someone, I'll say their name.
Could I ask, what do you make of this lightweight division? It's a bit of a mess of a situation. The champion wants to move on. They're essentially begging him to stay. There's Poirier and McGregor going at it. There's Oliveira, who can't seem to get a fight. There's Gaethje and Chandler. There's Nathan Diaz is kind of there, but he's not there. Like, what do you make of the whole? How would you make sense of it all as someone who has some free time on their hands? How would you matchmake everyone?
How would I matchmake the whole division?
The top 5.
The whole division.
Do you do Conor Poirier 3?
I think that part will happen. I think.
You do Gaethje Chandler?
Oh man, just sitting here. It's the same thing. Like it's saying names is saying
All right,
names.
fair enough.
Saying names is saying names is fighting words. You're trying
All right. I
I feel like
I
we're
was trying
having.
to ask a
What's your guys?
podcaster.
What's your guys' version of Shortland Street?
I don't know what that is. Is that a TV show?
Yeah, it's like Days of Our Lives.
Oh, sure, like a soap opera.
You know, it's like it's like a soap opera. It's sitting here going, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I feel like I'm on an episode of Shortland Street.
Okay. Well, because I know you're a media guy. You had your podcast, so I was trying to rev the engines a little bit. Okay, so let me ask you this before I let you go. Today, I don't know if this occurred to you. Today is the 1-year anniversary of your win over Paul Felder.
Wow.
Did that occur
That
to
was
you?
a year.
A year today.
Well, it was yesterday in New Zealand.
That's right. Damn it. You're right. You're right. I'm here in America, so I'm going by.
And the fight was in New Zealand.
That's right.
So it was yesterday.
Wait, but actually, was it February 23rd or February 24th in New Zealand? Now we're getting into it. Well, today is the 23rd in
Everyone
America.
but everyone was tagging me in their stuff yesterday.
My bad. I think they got the dates. In any event, when you think back on that experience, getting to headline in your home country, a fight that was considered one of the best fights of the year, like what comes to mind?
That was it's a main event to in New Zealand, in my own town, in my own city. To go for a fight like that and to get the result like that. That meant the world to me. That meant the world to me. That's the highest moment of my career, without a doubt. That's funny. Like a moment like that, that's something that no one will ever be able to take that from me.
And I hope that you'll get many more of those opportunities. And next up, of course, for your country, I mean, there's a lot of great fighters from your country about to fight now. Izzy, of course, at the top of the list. You have a prediction? Does he stop Jan? I'm assuming you're picking him to win, but how do you think he actually wins?
Yeah, I'm picking him.
Of course. But do you think does he knock him out? You think he knocks him out?
That's a difficult call to make. I feel like he's it's funny. I haven't been in the gym. I haven't been in the gym. I haven't seen what they've been cooking up. But they'll definitely have a plan. There's a full team going over there with Israel backing them up. I'm sure they're gonna. From what I've seen, Jan is a great fighter, very powerful fighter, but maybe not as maybe a little limited of a striker, whereas Israel has a lot of tools that he can pull out of his toolbox. So I think I think it'll be a technical fight. I'm picking him to just hit and not get hit for the full time.
Dan, I have a lot of respect for you. Good luck with this experience here, and I think every father on the planet feels for you, but you're handling it way better than, I mean, that's why you're the fighter and I'm not. You're handling it way better than I could have ever imagined. So good on you for your perspective on everything and how you're handling
UFC history when he defeated Calvin Kattar via unanimous decision last month. First UFC main event on ABC. What a phenomenal...
Here we go, Junkie Nation. Gorgeous Georgian Ghost scoring another superstar. Ashley Yoder joining us here on the video chat line. She's a UFC strawweight, and she's getting down this Saturday versus Angela Hill at UFC Fight Night 186. What's up, Fighter Monkey? How are you?
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm good. I literally just walked into my room in Vegas, so I'm great to be able to be welcomed by you guys.
What's the first thing you do when you walk in the room? Like, do you jump on the bed or check the fridge or what?
Not gonna lie, this room kind of smelled a little off. I was like, what is going on? But I kind of see why there's two rooms in here. It's because of myself. I'm like, which room do I go? I go to the bigger one, right? So I just had to make sure which room was the actual bigger one, which I don't really think it's that much bigger, but.
You got to you got to move some things around, right? To hit pads and have some room because of the quarantines.
Well, we have the room right next to mine is my workout room, so that's where we hit. But in here, usually I have my video game, but your girl's been out of PS5. I've been trying to get PS5 since my fight in August, and it's not happening. So I'm on so right now I have no video games. I left my PS4 at home. So.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. This fight came together last minute. What was the first thing on your mind? Cha-ching, a payday, or a rematch against Angela Hill? And like, what was it that you thought of first?
I think the first thought to my head was I get to fight, So the talk was I might not be fighting until after June. So when the opportunity comes, you gotta seize it. And I respect Angela a lot, and I'm always gonna be an underdog, but I'm really excited about this rematch.
I'm an idiot for leaving out option C. That's the competitor side. I get to fight. So I'll take that one. But I was really happy to hear you say that because, social media, all you see is fighters like, I want to get paid. I want to get paid. There's nothing wrong with that. But every once in a while, I like to hear the sprinkles of, I want to compete. I want to fight. This is what I do. I'm a prize fighter. You know what I mean? So that one tickled my fancy.
Fight, man. We get to fight. That's so important to say. It's not getting a paycheck is awesome. Hell yeah. But we get to do this, and we're lucky enough, even under this crazy time, that we still get to. So.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as competing against Angela Hill, is there anything special to that? Meaning, being that you guys are running it back.
It's my first rematch, so that's exciting. It's been 4 years since we fought. We've both grown a lot since then, and I'm just excited to get back in there and show what I've been working on. So.
Does that kind of play into accepting the fight and all that? Because had it been somebody else, maybe more video work, all that you got to do, but somebody you're familiar with, and I'm sure you've probably played the rematch in your head before. How was all that process for you?
Not really. We actually were offered a fight at 125 before this was brought up, and I'm too little to be fighting at 25. I'm sure if I put more muscle on, it'd be a different story. But I walk around at 125, 124, so it's not a good idea for me to take a fight against someone that's going to come in a little bit heavier, even last minute. Uh, that being said, so at the end of the day, I'm just really excited to get to fight. So it's not necessarily. Of course, the opponent is really important, right? If they try to get me to fight a champion fight like in the last minute, that would make no sense for me. But I think this is a great time for a rematch. I think this is a great fight for both of us, and for me, I'm coming in with guns blazing. There's nothing to lose for me, so I'm excited just to be out there and get some time on the mat again and get to do what I love. So
2020 was a rough year for everyone, but fighters were hit pretty hard. With 2021 coming around, did your mindset switch like that? Are you already in a positive mood and ready to bang this year out?
yeah, no, I feel like 2020 was a crazy year. I feel like the year just went by so quickly. Like, where did summer go? Where did all these things go? And at the end of the day, the blessing of the year was I still was able to grind. I was still able to fight. I'm still able to train. There's been a lot of people in my life and people I know that have lost, which is unfortunate. It's really sad. What the society as a whole we're going through and the divide and the all the negative energy. But other than that, man, I've been blessed to be able to be focused on my work and train every day. So
You talked about walking into the room just now. At what point for you does that switch flip where all of a sudden it starts to feel like fight week, you're amped up? Is it the drive over here, you walking in the door, you going into the PI? When does it switch for you?
5 weeks started, as soon as I woke up on Monday morning. So I was like, oh, fight week. It felt like fight week. It didn't feel any different. I think one of the blessings about short notice fight is that the stress of injuries and that overthinking of injuries and things over the long period of fight camp, it doesn't happen. So, my body's fresh. I feel really charged up and ready to go. And, at the end of the day, like, you have to be ready for anything in this sport. It's such a crazy sport, but that's why we all sign up for this. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
If you were thinking about fighting in June, does that mean you weren't close to your optimal walk around weight, or do you always walk around at your optimal weight? Was that even a concern? Did you even think, okay, can we meet at 118? I've noticed that with a lot of people taking fights at the last minute, they're running into some problems as well in that regard.
No, absolutely not. The gym was not my choice. If you heard anything in my last fight, after my fight, I wanted to get back in there. Of course, my one of my coaches was gone in Brazil for almost a month, so and I was going home to visit family, so I wasn't sure when I was going to be able to fight, and then June possibility came out. I'm like, man, that's too far away. But no, weight's never been an issue at last minute fights right now. So in the last probably 3 or 4 years, I've been walking around pretty light. So yeah, I'm good.
Ashley, remind me, but I think Goes pointed out in our previous interview, did you have a minor in African American studies? Yeah.
African
Go ahead.
diaspora studies.
Say that one more time, please.
Yes, African American diaspora studies.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you.
Diaspora studies.
My question was going to be in regards to Black History Month. Do you like the way that the UFC's been, putting on, showing the vignettes and the attention that they've given to this month to the Black athletes in the organization?
Absolutely, I think it's so important that everybody embrace this moment. I mean, I go into school and majoring in such in African American diaspora as a white student was it was a blessing. You learn so much about the transition from Africa to America, and a lot of people, you see all this media hate and all these things, and there are issues that need to be addressed. And I feel like this is a beautiful thing for the UFC to have a platform and be able to celebrate these beautiful African American athletes. So I'm pro all the love. So I think it's a great time for everybody to embrace this month.
Definitely. All right. Well, listen, it's fight week, and we put this together last minute. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and of course, you taking the fight at late notice. Against a well-known fighter. It's going to be it is a great, definite. Excuse me. It's a great addition to the card. So that's what I'm trying to say, and we look forward to your fight on Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.